to rebuild America's roads and bridges.
It can be passed in one bill or in a series of measures. What matters is that we get the job done.
The bulk of the plan relies on state and local governments and the private sector that, according to the Council of Economic Advisors, would create hundreds of thousands of jobs, though a plan, Lisa, that even the president admits Congress likely won't touch ahead of the midterms.
Thanks, Jeff. Retaliation from Russia, kicking out 60 U.S. diplomats and dozens more from other countries to match the number of Russian diplomats expelled recently.
Russia's foreign minister also announced that it will close down the U.S. consulate in St. Petersburg. California Republican Congressman Darrell Issa said the moves will actually hurt Russia.
Our diplomats will come home. There'll be less of them there. It will actually work to the detriment of Russia being able to do commercial business.
Russia will also issue tit-for-tat responses to other countries that have expelled diplomats in a mass show of support for Britain, which has blamed Moscow for a nerve agent attack on a former Russian spy on British soil.
Fox's John Decker at the White House. Russia still denies involvement in the poisoning. Fair and balanced.
Triple J says yes. Zero down? Yes. 1.9% financing? Yes. Easy trade-in? Yes. No payments for 90 days? Yes. We'll have you saying yes, too, to these amazing deals. Like our big boy truck, the Ford F-150 at only $217 per paycheck. Or the top safety pick Mazda CX-5 Sport at only $194 per paycheck. Or turn heads in the Mazda 3 Sport or the sleek and sophisticated Kia Soul. Both for only $129 per paycheck. Visit us online at triplejguam.com. Some conditions apply. See dealer for details. Triple J, customers first.
Relax, enjoy, and be greeted by the spectacular view of Hagåtña Bay when you visit the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam. Gaze into the beautiful sunset as you unwind to the music of Philip Garcia and Natasha on Wednesdays, Mama Shar and Nina on Thursdays, Philip Garcia and Luis Muñoz on Fridays, and Jack Larimer on Saturdays. Open daily from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Happy hour from 5 to 8 p.m. with all cocktail drinks for $7. Receive a discount when you present your SPG card. Call Peter Yaban at 646-2222 for reservations at the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam Resort.
Another loss for Bill Cosby's defense team ahead of his retrial in a sexual assault case. Judge Stephen O'Neill rejecting a defense motion to recuse himself from the trial.
The attorneys allege the judge would be influenced by his wife's work with assault victims. Judge O'Neill told the lawyers he would not be biased or prejudiced. The defense also hopes to introduce a witness that will testify to what they say is lead accuser Andrea Constand's desire to make up allegations to get money. Prosecutors say the new witness, who worked with Constand at Temple University, is lying.
Fox's Colonel Scott. The judge previously issued a series of rulings against the defense, including the decision to allow 5 additional accusers to testify. Jury selection scheduled to start Monday in Pennsylvania. A former Army commanding general in South Carolina is being blamed in a lawsuit for the failure of a dam that damaged dozens of homes in Colombia, killing 2 people in 2015.
The $20 million lawsuit brought on behalf of the residents of an upscale subdivision directly downstream from the Fort Jackson Dam. According to records obtained by the state newspaper, the as yet unnamed general wanted his lakeside yard to look attractive and had concrete installed about a decade ago to raise lake levels, decreasing the capacity of spillways to release water in case of a flood or storm. An Army Corps of Engineers report also found the Army did not properly maintain the dam. Lillian Wu, Fox News.
The federal government still reaching settlements with companies accused of wrongdoing in the run-up to the financial crisis. Barclays agreeing to pay $2 billion in civil penalties to settle a lawsuit claiming it was involved in a fraudulent scheme to sell risky residential mortgage-backed securities between 2005 and 2007. Again, a rally today on Wall Street to wrap up the month of March. The Dow up 311. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
It's super, stupendous, it's sensational. It's a sensational seafood menu at Ruby Tuesday with satisfying selections of appetizers like lobster mac, crispy flatbreads, Italian cheese dip, and stuffed shrimp. Try them all and enjoy the selection of sensational seafood for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday, Guam.
With the pending implementation of a new sales tax, the team of Gutierrez Bordalio is greatly concerned for the people of Guam. The collection of this tax means $160 million a year will come from our already suffering working class and will negatively impact the cost of living for our our island families. If given the opportunity, our team would immediately look at restructuring the government to reduce from the top and prioritize critical services. We need a streamlined plan. We need leadership. We need Gutierrez Bordallo.
I'm Carl Gutierrez, and I approve this message.
Chili's has the seafood you crave, the flavors you love, at a great price with our 3 for Me Lent menu. For just $15, you can get a beverage, fresh salad, and a Lent-friendly entree. First, choose from a refreshing Coca-Cola, iced tea, or Heineken on draft. Then enjoy a fresh house salad right before you indulge in your choice of a mouth-watering entree, like our spicy shrimp tacos, savory Cajun pasta with shrimp, or our flavorful grilled ancho salmon. Chili's 3 for Me Lent menu for just $15. Available for a limited time. Chili's, more life happens here.
How do you turn every day into cash back? With the Bank of Guam Visa credit card, cash back just got better. Get 1.5% cash back every month with every purchase. Every pick-me-up, every filler-up, every Sunday dinner, every four-wheel spinner. Whatever comes to mind, even every stroll in the sweet sunshine. Everything your heart desires turns into 1.5% cash back every month. The Bank of Guam Visa credit card, the everyday card. Apply today. Call, click, or visit. Terms and conditions apply. Bank of Guam. Member FDIC.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 6 a.m. this Good Friday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Airman First Class Bradley Hale has been identified as the service member who died in an apparent stabbing Tuesday morning at Andersen Air Force Base. Andersen leadership yesterday confirmed the airman's name. The 20-year-old Hale enlisted in the Air Force back in 2016. He is from Montgomery, Texas. He was temporarily assigned to Andersen from Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana, which is the home base for the B-52s. In a statement yesterday, Andersen 36 Wing Commander Brigadier General Douglas Cox said that this is a very difficult loss for us. Our focus is on supporting the families, the affected unit, and our community. A suspect is in custody but has not yet been charged, and his name has not been released. The Air Force's Office of Special Investigations has confirmed that a medical examiner from Kadena Air Force Base in Okinawa is expected to conduct an autopsy today at the U.S. Naval Hospital here on island. Ready or not, the temporary increase in the business privilege tax set to take effect on April 1st, provided no last-minute snag is found in the revised fiscal realignment plan submitted Wednesday by the governor. The business privilege tax will increase 1 percentage point from 4% to 5% this Easter Sunday. Reverend Tax Director John Camacho telling the Post yesterday that they're ready. The revised tax forms showing the new BPT rate should be available on the Revenue Tax website by this evening, he said. He called it just a minor adjustment to the current BPT form and pointed out that the forms can be filed online as well. The increased BPT rate expected to bring in about $5 million a month, said Camacho, raising a total of $30 million before it expires on September 30th. We'll have more news after this.
Rain. It's nature's way of cleansing the earth. Yet by the time that rainwater makes its way to your home, it may not be exactly the same as nature created it. A Connecticut water treatment system can improve the quality of the water you and your family drink and use throughout your home, so you can be sure your water is clear, clean, and fresh, just as nature intended it to be. Connecticut, for refreshing ideas on water.
American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. Call American WaterTech, 649-2301, or email info@americanwatertech.com.
The stations of Choice Broadcasting are celebrating April 2018 as National Earth Month in the first ever Upcycle Mascot Showdown. We've invited the public elementary 5th grade classes to set the example and build their school mascots completely out of recyclable material. Come down to the Chamorro Village Festival Huts on April 21st from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. for a full day of fun. Support your school's mascot and be sure to vote for your favorite. Judges pick the first place winner. The public votes for the second place winner. Celebrate Earth Month with our students in the Upcycle Mascot Showdown. Brought to you by Leo Palace Resort Guam, Dr. Yang Dental, Denny's of Guam, and The Point.
11 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. Guam Police Department announcing that the Agana Precinct Command will reopen this evening at 6 p.m. The precinct was shut down earlier this month and its officers transferred to the Department of Corrections in Manilao in an effort to help reduce overtime at the prison. Police Chief Joseph Cruz announcing yesterday that 19 officers have now been reassigned back to the Agana Precinct Command for patrol operations. The chief said that 18 other officers will remain at DOC to continue assisting the Department of Corrections with its personnel shortage and to save on overtime costs at that prison. More contraband discovered at DOC Adult Correctional Facility in Manilao yesterday, an early morning shakedown. DOC Deputy Director Kate Baltazar announcing that 3 mobile phones with chargers, a small resealable bag with drug paraphernalia, and a pocket knife were all recovered. Corrections officers also found an inmate with residual amounts of marijuana and various drug paraphernalia. Brian Jacob Leon Guerrero was booked and reconfined. Baltazar says that he was serving time for aggravated assault and use of a deadly weapon in the commission of a felony and still serving that time at the prison. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Here's Ray with some weather.
The weather changed overnight. It was hot and breezy yesterday, and we come to work this morning, and it's coming down decently. Considerable cloudiness, scattered showers, and isolated thunderstorms are in the forecast for today. It's going to be a muddy climb up Humudang Manglu. Southeast winds 10 to 20 miles an hour, shifting to the south and diminishing 5 to 15 miles an hour tonight. Highs about 87 degrees and overnight lows of about 77 degrees. For Easter weekend, partly sunny. Days, partly cloudy. Nights with isolated showers. South winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Daytime highs should be up around 88 degrees and overnight lows of about 76 degrees. Sunrise this morning in 7 minutes. Sunset tonight at 6:32. That's news and weather together. Brought to you by Bank Pacific, where some put branches, they place roots.
GPSI Guam is a professional services company that is a registered contractor for the federal government. They're an SBA 8A and Hub Zone certified SDVOSB, providing program/project management, administration, technical support, logistics, and commodities. Find out more about GPSI and how they can help you today. For large prime companies, contact GPSI if you need assistance in meeting your small business subcontracting goals at 477-3058. They'll be happy to assist.
Hey, listen, if you're hungry for breakfast, swing by the nearest Subway. You know they got breakfast items there. Maybe you don't know that. Did you know about those breakfast items that you don't know you can get? You can get them now with a wrap. I'm sorry, it's the way my brain bends in the morning. So I want you to try something new. Breakfast at Subway with the wraps. They've got a tomato basil and a spinach wrap. So maybe you don't want to carb up on all the heavy bread. Well, get it in the wrap style. Hey, listen, it's still Lent, and they've got the classic tuna and the seafood sensations, the Veggie Max, and more. But different ways to eat them now with the wrap at Subway. As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you. Groovy 6:14 in the morning. The Ray Gibson Show also brought to you by First Hawaiian Bank. Oh, by the way, they are open for business today.
They are indeed.
Just
yes.
an FYI, it's Good Friday, but they recognize that you might need to swing by the ATM or maybe even actually go inside the bank and get a loan or something. So remember, with First Hawaiian Bank, it all starts with yes.
For more than 40 years, we've managed our island's most precious resource, your health. Take Care's benefit plans allow members access to more than 120 medical providers, 40 dental providers, and 18 pharmacies in the region. Take Care's health plans ensure members in Palau, Saipan, and Guam receive the care they deserve. Our programs and wellness classes have proven results for our valued members, and our commitment to your health never been stronger. Take Care, our island, your health plan.
The Ray Gibson Show.
Morning talk that matters. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
It's already packing up in Sella Bay, Seti Bay, the whole outlook there. I can see it on our traffic maps this morning. There's a line of traffic southbound, and my guess is it's not actually traffic. I think it's just a bunch of cars that are stopped waiting for it to stop raining or something like that, so we can get to the trailhead and make the way up to Humujong Manglo and get up to the top. It is a Good Friday tradition. Welcome to the program, by the way. And glad that you're making this your wake-up tradition here at the Ray Gibson Show on The Point. My name is Ray. Kevin Kerrigan with the news from the Guam Daily Post. And Michael Knight, who is going to explain the rapid change in the weather that we saw from warm, breezy conditions yesterday. And then last night it started sprinkling, and then it hasn't stopped. What's that?
Yeah, you don't have a picture for me, but that's okay. You know, we talked a little bit about it yesterday with this particular tropical storm, which may actually become a typhoon briefly before it gets caught up in some wintry weather stuff and shoots out to open ocean. There's an area of convergence down to the southeast of that, and as that storm just makes that turn to the north and then to the northeast, that area of convergence, like a line, it's just going to move right across it. And you can see it approaching us right here as we're right just left of center here in this picture. So you can see that line of convergence down to the south of the storm, which is off to the west.
Is my graphic all the way off? Do I need to?
No, you're good.
To adjust?
No,
okay.
you're
all right.
perfect
So
right
it's where it's supposed to. I just couldn't. I can't make it out from where I'm looking at it. I guess
There's
Guam is in that
Yeah,
patch. Okay.
Yeah, right.
So Guam is in the patch of the clouds right now, and redness is swelling redness there of the rains that need to get out of that, and then. And then through.
And that's actually a sign of some pretty good development there. So in the next couple of hours, we might see a couple little rumbles of thunder or something, and definitely a little wave of rain, heavy rain. We needed it. I sent you pictures on WhatsApp yesterday of the fires burning up on the hill. And as, you know, fate is a funny thing. A shower moved just west of the island as that fire was burning and did not fall on that fire. And it was just like, wow.
Not. No,
like
of course
5 miles.
It's that time of year. We're at that. I don't know. I want to say it's the crossroads of the seasons, right? Where we're going from the dry and crispy grass season into the rainy season. Is it possible that this is the start of our monsoon time?
I think this is just nature's way of telling us that things are getting warmer and starting to change just a bit. I would not go as far as to say it's the actual change. I still think we've got another month or two that we're going to have to deal with that summer.
Gotcha. Well, that's all right. It just means that the weather is going to be that much more important for us to deliver on a regular basis. Welcome to the program. As I said, it is the Ray Gibson Show. Tropical storm Jalawat, well west of the Mariana Islands, and you can see that on the screen. I might leave that up for a little bit more, or maybe not. I don't know. I haven't really decided what I want to do. This is our first Good Friday together here on the Ray Gibson Show on the Point.
And it's good to be here.
Well, it is good to be here. You're right. See, you didn't need to come in. I didn't think there was. Well, I don't. Some people have different.
Not an official holiday.
Well, I know it's not. Is this yours?
It's yours.
It's the Government of Guam holiday list. So it is not an official Government of Guam holiday. So it's possible that there might be some movers, shakers, headline makers that we might be able to get a hold of. In fact, the legislature is going to be open for business. It's not a lot of business, but there's at least going to be one confirmation hearing or two, and I'll go over all of that. We would normally be doing Blake Watson with some sports later on, but he's not doing a morning show on the radio station.
He said he'd be here.
He said he'd be here.
If not, we'll call him.
He's one of those young flaky guys. You never know with young flaky guys. They may go, yeah, I know I said I was going to be there. And then, I just changed my mind. I just figured, gee, that's a long way to go.
Well, see, and he's got a baby, so he can use that as an excuse. Oh, the baby woke me up last night, and, I was just trying to help Mom out, because it's Easter.
Yeah, sure. So I'm just, there's that, and it's opening day.
That's right. Yeah. Major League Baseball.
For Major League
He's up
Baseball's
watching
opening
games
day.
right now. I bet you can guarantee.
Call him.
And my team and his team plays first this
Call
day.
him. Find out. See what he's up to. We're just playing around with that. See what's going on. There's folks on the online here at Facebook Live. I see Brad. I see Frank. I see Mark Mindiola. Roy Burgess. Lillian Cruz is awake. Hey, half a day. Go ahead and press the heart button when I mention your name. It's cool. Lillian Cruz and Jacqueline Diaz. Brian Bautista. Yes, that Brian from way off island. There's Nick and Greg Massey's awake this morning. Half a day from Korea, says Brad Rosala. Now I don't know whether that means that he's actually in Korea. Brad, are you actually in Korea, or is it just there's a lot of Korean tourists in Saipan right now, and it feels like Korea?
Remember, he was on the air with us a couple of weeks ago and saying that there are cheap flights from Saipan to Korea.
Yeah.
He's
So
taking advantage of that.
Long Easter weekend in Seoul could be a thing. Could be a thing.
$50 round trip.
I
don't know. Easter in Seoul just sounds right. I don't know.
There's Rhea and Eunice and Juanita. Good to have you all aboard early this morning. Amanda Shelton from the Congresswoman's office. And Amanda, I am waiting for confirmation from you on when the Congresswoman is going to be here in the studio. She promised me when I saw her last time that she was going to come by and we'd christen the studio with an interview with her and find out what the absolute latest and greatest is coming out of Washington, D.C. I think she did spend some time, though, yesterday with some folks that were demonstrating over by her office about Agent Orange and downwinder activities. Big Sister Shelley signed on. It's nice. Downwinder activities and just the sheer number of people that more needs to be done for. It doesn't take a whole lot of forensics. There's enough testimony from people that say, yeah, I was on Guam during the Vietnam War, and we decided that maybe one of the things that we do instead of spending a lot of time clearing grass was we just kill it. We just spray it down with something, and that took care of the grass. But apparently there were some things in there that continue to have plaguing people from that region and that served up there, and maybe even people that lived up there as well. 21 after the hour, and again looking at the roadway down on Route 2 over by the Seti River, and there is a line of traffic moving southbound and a little bit of a buildup moving northbound. So there's a lot of people that live down south that weren't climbing today, and they're going, hey, what are all you people doing here? You don't come down here. You don't know how to park here. It's not a parking lot in the road. How am I supposed to get by you? It'll be all right. You guys will just make it through there. Just expect the delays on that side of the island if it is a problem, and you are in a super big hurry. Southerners know this. They know how to get through the middle and through the villages to get through into the central part of the island on Route 4 and on the Menangan and the Malolo side. So go ahead and take whatever shortcuts that you need to be able to get through that way. As I said, it's an interesting tradition that we do. There's a bunch of crosses at the top of the hill, and a couple of them were carried. Believe it or not, you think about how tough it is just being able to slog up that hill. Just, with your stuff and your rosary beads and the family and all of that.
Imagine how it's going to feel to us next year when we go up there and do our remote for Easter.
Do what? Say what again? But there's those crosses that were hauled up there, and they weren't hauled up there with men with equipment. That was all.
Sounds like Mike is volunteering to haul a cross up there next year, huh?
Thought so, huh? It'd be a very small light cross.
Look at me. I need the exercise.
It'd be the cross light. We'll call it, because I don't know about that. But as I said, a big tradition. I've never actually had the opportunity to do it since there has been the annual processions up the hill, up Mount Humunzang Monlo. I have always worked on the radio.
Oh, okay.
So that's my excuse. I mean, that's why I was never able to make that drive. Even the last couple of years, when I was on my hiatus, I never had a chance to get up there and do that. One of these days, though, we'll do that. Table of contents this morning. Sure, there's enough stuff going on. I don't know that it's knockdown, drag out politics as we've seen over the last couple of weeks. Sure doesn't feel like it. It's Holy Week on Guam, and the big concerns now are moving forward, I think. Where are we going to be this time next week? I know where some of us are going to be this time next week. There's going to be a lot of people, I think, on Monday, Tuesday morning, and they're going to be going to places where they have been going for weeks and days and months and years, and they're going to be looking at some new prices. And they're going to, why has the price gone up? Is there one less boat carrying the goodies on the Jones Act from the States to Guam? Why is this more expensive? Why is that more expensive? And the answer is there has been a 1% increase in the gross receipts taxes, GRT, we've called it for a while. It seems to me the more fashionable phrase these days is the business privilege tax, the BPT. It was 4%, and effective the 1st of April. No April Fools, though. It's going to be going up by 1%. And we had some conversation about this yesterday, and the deal is even though it's only going to be 1%, there's still some labor that's going to be going into it. Businesses are going to be rounding up to the nearest whatever, 50 cents or 25 cents or $1. And some of them are going to do it just out of spite. Look, this is the hassle. What a hassle this is going to be. If I got to give the government of Guam more money, I'm going to take a little bit more for me. And so there are going to be some new prices that you might be looking at when you're out doing your shopping and you're goofing off and you're buying stuff. So be on the lookout for some sales. Personally, I would think in terms of taking advantage of whatever you can buy right now. They did this in Japan. They had a major increase in retail taxes, their version of the sales tax in Japan. And there were all kinds of people that were holding off on some big purchases. And as soon as the announcement went out that there was going to be an increase in their sales taxes on such and such a day, and I want to say it was sometime in April a couple of years ago, everybody went out and bought whatever they could get at what would be known as the old price.
Cleared the shelves.
Sure, because they knew that coming up there was going to be an increase. Now, we didn't get a whole lot of warning on this. And frankly, the law that drives this ain't that old. And so you might not have had a whole lot of time to put together some dollars. For most purchases, probably isn't going to make that big of a deal. For some of the larger purchases that you're looking at, an additional percent plus whatever the roundup is going to be, hey, that could make a bit of a deal. So while you're in the midst of your Good Friday things and your Holy Saturday things, might want to consider.
Tomorrow's the perfect time to buy a car.
That's what I'm saying. House, maybe. Car, washing machine, dryers, television sets.
Real estate is exempt.
Big screen televisions, all of those things. Yeah, I guess it is. It would be exempt on that because we're going to raise the real estate rates down the road a little bit. Good Friday, and I'm reminded of another tradition here. It's the end of Lent. Is it midnight? Deanna's agreeing with me. Deanna's online. She's agreeing with it. Good idea, Ray. Get out there and buy some stuff today because the prices are going to be going up, and they're going to go up again in October. We've got a little bit more of a head start on this. Not much by way of a head start on this increase, this 1% increase in the BPT. But here's what's going to happen, kids. Unless there is a major change, unless Mike Sinicolas is able to do away with the introduction of the 2% sales tax that is supposed to happen in October, that day, first day of the new fiscal year, we will see a return to the 4% GRT, but a 2% sales tax on top of everything. So that means that the goods that you see on the stores right now will be another 2% higher than what they are now. As I said, unless something else happens over at the legislature and they back out of the sales tax.
Got another bet for you.
Still,
it'll change.
I haven't given you. You think it'll change? You got that feeling?
I got that feeling.
You got that? There's
something's going to
a
happen.
bunch of people over at the legislature. Some running for re-election, some running for higher office. Maybe get that little squidgy feeling.
2% on October 1st. My money's against it.
I just don't know we can do that. Anyway, I was talking about. I'm sorry, I distract myself. This is the terrible thing about me. I was talking about traditions and the end of Lent. And I know some families, I know people that have sworn off things like booze for Lent. They've sworn off rice for Lent. And I know people sworn off meat for Lent. Gone vegan.
Wow.
And so you know what? Depending on where you live, there are going to be barbecues going on at 10:30, 11 o'clock at night. And the idea now is so that at the stroke of midnight, the official end of Lent for some families, then we can reach over and finally open up the rice pot. Finally. And finally, a rib. Oh my God, is that steak? That's a T-bone. Oh my God, it's a T-bone in the barbecue grill. Is that for me? Oh, thank you, Jesus. Oh, happy days. And so the obligation will conclude. Just hold out a little bit longer, friends. It's not that much long, not that further away for you to be able to do something like that. Hands off the grill until midnight. 6:30 in the morning on the Ray Gibson Show on The Point. In time for our first look at headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here is Kevin Kerrigan.
Alpha Day and Good Morning Guam. News time here at The Point is 31 minutes past 6 a.m. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, personal financial records of 154 students at UOG have been compromised. The data breach includes the students' social security numbers and how much in student loans or Pell Scholarship grants that they had received. The university issuing a statement yesterday saying that an unnamed employee at UOG's financial aid office inadvertently sent an email on March 27th containing what's supposed to be private information on the students to 196 unauthorized recipients. Jonas Macapinlac, the director of Integrated Marketing Communications at the university, said it was not a malicious mistake, and this is the first time that it has ever happened. He said they are taking a look at their protocols to make sure it does not happen again. Macapinlac said that UOG immediately enacted fraud prevention protocols and began an investigation. The unintended recipients of the email have all been contacted and asked to delete that email. The students whose information was compromised have also been contacted, and UOG will provide them with free credit monitoring services for 12 months. An audit of the Guam Department of Agriculture has found faults with the agency's use of federal funds. The audit was conducted by the Interior Department's Office of Inspector General. It covered the use of $7.2 million in U.S. Fish and Wildlife grants from October 2014 through September 2016. Among the findings of the 31 grants totaling $7.2 million, the Department of Agriculture used only $4.4 million. The department failed to submit most of the required federal financial reports within 90 days, and the auditors also found a damaged grant-funded vehicle that had not been reported, vehicles that were used for personal errands, and vehicles driven without proper documentation for their use. Vietnam veterans and supporters rallied outside the office of Delegate Madeline Bordallo in Agana yesterday to demonstrate their support for a bill in Congress intended to broaden Agent Orange exposure coverage to Guam, as well as spread awareness of the toxic chemicals' potential impact on the island. Among the demonstrators was 67-year-old John Kitache, who said he used to help load bombs and transport them to Andersen Air Force Base back in the late 1960s. He said he witnessed individuals spraying a defoliant on base, and he believes it was Agent Orange. The demonstration occurred outside Bordallo's district office because of that bill in the U.S. House, H.R. 809, which proposes to grant presumptive Agent Orange exposure status to service members who served on Guam, the CNMI, or American Samoa during the Vietnam War era. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
And now would be a good time to remind you that iConnect time in the studio is 6:34. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk mobile and internet plans.
Did you know over 80% of all vision impairments can be prevented or cured? Naval Academy and Johns Hopkins University graduate Dr. Peter Lombard has performed thousands of sight-saving procedures in Guam since 2010. He specializes in cataract surgery and can treat your diabetic eye disease, glaucoma, and much more. From simple vision exams to complex surgery, Lombard Health proudly accepts all insurance. Call today to book an appointment at 989-4747. Guam's best eye care, one patient at a time.
So you buying a house? Don't know about the history of the house? Are you sure the guy you're buying it from actually has the title to be able to sell it to you? There's a thing called title research in this town. The best guys at it are Security Title. So when you've got questions about a little bit of the genealogy of the place that you want to buy into, or maybe you just want some confidentiality, or maybe you just don't understand the process, these guys are very, very good at providing solutions for complex real estate transactions. That's Security Title.
Every time I travel, there's something from home that I can't leave without. I take my Docomo Pacific Data to Go to share my stories in Taiwan, check subway routes in Tokyo, be my food guide in Hong Kong, meet new friends in the Philippines, make updates in the States, find my way around Korea, and check out all the cool shows in Singapore. It's the data I have in all the places I love for only $10 a day. Data to Go from Docomo Pacific. Better together.
Portions of the program also brought to you by King's Restaurant, for decades serving favorites to our favorite families. Always open, always local. It's King's Restaurant.
The implementation of a new sales tax is a complicated matter and requires much more than just declaring it done. An agency will write the new tax code and with new details, procedures, and potential problems in mind. The team of Gutierrez Bordallo is concerned that this will not solve our current fiscal problems. Our team would streamline the government, reducing non-essential employees and services instead of taxing our suffering community. We need leadership. We need Gutierrez Bordallo.
I'm Carl Gutierrez, and I approve this message.
Wendy's welcomes the new Smoky Mushroom Bacon Cheeseburger, featuring smoky sauteed portobello mushrooms, melted Asiago cheese, crispy applewood smoked bacon, and crunchy fried onions atop a juicy beef patty. For those craving the same great taste, Wendy's Smoky Mushroom Bacon Potato is also loaded with sauteed portobello mushrooms, cheddar cheese sauce, and crispy applewood smoked bacon. Here for a limited time, get a delicious Smoky Mushroom Bacon Cheeseburger and Smoky Mushroom Bacon Potato today. Wendy's. Now that's better.
At 6:36, it's time for a first official look at Right Now traffic. And right now, there's no traffic anywhere on Guam except Route 2. And to try to pin this down, it's on the Agate-Umatic Road. Southbound is a line of cars, and it is possible that that line of cars is on the side of the road, but there is also a line of cars moving northbound on Route 2 through Agate-Umatic, as there's a big chunk of people that are making the annual trek up Mount Humudzang Manglu for Good Friday. I said, just everybody be nice to each other, honk, wave, get down from the car, and maybe help out. Bring an umbrella and a tarp, because it's going to rain on you this morning. That's a look at Right Now traffic here on The Point.
$7 meal from Circle K. Get your choice of 2 Nathan's all-beef hot dogs or a half-pound Nathan's all-beef footlong, a big wrap bag of chips, and any size Polar Pop. That's a giant deal of a meal, all for only $7. Circle K. Take it easy.
Do you suffer from eye strain? If you work at a computer, follow the 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, look 20 feet away for 20 seconds to reduce eye fatigue. Ensure you have the optimal prescription for your contact lenses and glasses. Early stages of common eye diseases typically have no symptoms and can only be detected with a comprehensive dilated eye exam. Call Lombard Health today to book an appointment at 989-4747. Guam's best eye care. One patient at a time.
Ray Gibson brings you closer to the action. Morning talk that matters. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Didn't I tell you that change is bad? Haven't we had this conversation yet there, Mike? Change is bad. The King's commercial are supposed to be after the big newscaster, the top of the hour, not the little one at the bottom of the hour. You move things around, and frankly, it freaks me out. 6:38 in the morning. What? I'm old and stubborn now. I can do that, right? I can do that? All right, groovy. A couple of things I wanted to point out is the online poll at thepoint.gu. And a little bit of confusion because I've been talking about it a lot, and sometimes when I say The Point, you might be thinking it's the Facebook. I'm trying to think if you can get to. Yeah, you should be able to get to it from the Facebook page that says point.gu, but our actual website is thepoint.gu, and there is an online poll, I don't know, halfway down the right-hand column. And I'll share with you some of the results because because, frankly, it's changed significantly from where it was yesterday. And then yesterday afternoon, I'd gotten off the air, and there's Bob Klitsky called me up and says, hey, I was trying to get a hold of you, but there was a problem dialing in to the Point's phone system. And sorry about that. I'm going to work on that with my technical guys. Good morning, Bob. Wait a second. This is the whole problem, just getting him on the air. Can you hear me? I pressed all my buttons. Huh. Oh, well. I was going to say, try. You want me to do it again? No, I can't. I pressed the button, and I still can't make it vibrate. It's 20 away from the top of the hour. We'll see if we can get him back up and find out what it was that he wanted to yak about yesterday, and maybe his thoughts on where we're going to be headed with this beheaded. Sorry, where we're going with this BPT increase that will take effect not today, not tomorrow, but on April Fools. And a couple of the people I've talked to in the game, in the retail game, say, yeah, we're kind of sort of ready for it. Just a question now of being able to get the paperwork. We do have some audio of Kevin Kerrigan talking with John Camacho to find out their state of readiness over at the Department of Revenue and Taxation. And down the road, I'll play that for you. They are going to be working today. As I point out, this is not a GovGuam holiday. If you look at the list, the last GovGuam holiday was on March the 5th, the Guam History and Chamorro Heritage Day. And the next holiday is going to be on Memorial Day, way at the end of May. And so unless the governor comes out and says we're doing something else, we got another big holiday coming up. Unless he declares something a holiday. Opening day for baseball? No? Probably not. That's what we've got here today. So there is going to be GovGuam. There is going to be Rev and Tax. There is going to be the legislature, in fact, in accordance with open government law, relative to notices for public meetings, yada, yada, yada. The Committee on Finance, Education, Taxation will convene a public hearing today at 1 in the public hearing. They are going to be hearing and accepting testimonies on the referral of the appointment of Ed B. Palacios, position for member of the Cockpit License Board for a year. Referral of appointment for Dr. Lisa Baza Cruz for position of Education Director. Is that right? Ed D. And a member of the Guam. Oh, I see what she's going. Okay, so that's what it is. Dr. Lisa Baza Cruz is being referred for appointment to be a member of the Guam Commission for Educator Certification. Oh boy, but put everything on hold here. I've got to go to these. I'm going to go to these hearings and testify for these people.
The Cockpit Board is kind of interesting.
The Cockpit Board, you know why? Because they're talking about adding another 2 licenses, another 2 of these licensed cockpits. Yeah. And so I think it's going to get a little bit more interesting. Frankly, they've already done it, as I understand it. Now it's just a question of working backwards through the process to see what now has to happen and who is going to be getting those things. All right, I'm going to try it again. Let's see if I get Bob Klitsky talking on the radio. Bob, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Ray.
And I can hear you. What a glorious thing this technology is here, so that we can talk to each other without being in the same room.
Telephone is a wonderful tool.
I dig it. So you had some stuff you wanted. You were trying to get a hold of me to talk on the radio yesterday and unable to complete the phone call, kind of like we were a second ago. What was it exactly that you wanted to talk about or discuss on the air?
Well, you were talking about Maria yesterday, and I was going to tell you that, and you were wondering about Maria's husband, and I was going to call and tell you that I knew where in Sam Hill Maria's husband was.
That was a conversation that got started. We were talking about crazy names in the sports deal, or the thing that we sometimes loosely refer to as sports, with Blake Watson. He brought up some crazy names from the world of baseball, Chicken Wolf and Snuffy and Chet and Budweiser. And so we got to talking about some crazy names of people that I remember hearing about when I was a kid. And there was what was the name of those guys?
Well, way back in the day, there was a company called Getz Brothers, Ray. They were a trading company. They had a travel agency, et cetera. Mm-hmm. And there was an interesting true story about some correspondence between the general manager of that company and a mainland concern. So someone from the mainland wrote to Getz Brothers out here and got an answer from the local manager whose name was Dick Tracy.
I'm going to be 56 in May. This story never gets old. I've been hearing this story since I was about 6.
Yeah, and so XYZ Corporation, the manager of XYZ Corporation in California, writes to Guam, asks for a quotation on shipping something or other, and gets an answer from Dick Tracy, who's the general manager of Guest Brothers. So the guy in California thinks somebody's pulling my leg here. So he writes back to Dick Tracy and says, come on, you go, well, who is the general manager out there? Well, in the meantime, Mr. Tracy had been rotated to a different post somewhere else in the country and had a replacement. So his replacement writes back and says, Mr. Dick Tracy is no longer the manager of Getz Brothers. I am the new manager of Getz Brothers, and I'll help you, and signs it with his own name, which is Donald Duck.
Oh, boy.
It's actually happened.
Isn't that something? I'm telling you. Like I said, I've heard this story for 100 years since I was a little boy, and I never, ever get tired of hearing it. You've been here for a long time. Did you actually know either one of these guys?
I may have known. He was Don Duck. People referred to him as Don Duck.
Sure, why not?
But I didn't know Dick Tracy. I may have known Don Duck, but
a long time, a lot of water under the bridge. And now you reminded me that my mother used to work at Getz Brothers.
Yes, because Getz Brothers had a travel agency, and your mother used to work there way back in the day.
Yeah, and then she started working at MTA, and then our own family concern. So many great memories. It was just a delight to talk to you about that. I was also talking with John Fernandez the other day, and we got to talking about some of the things that they may still have to do. A lot of pressure on the Department of Education to reduce their expenditures, not necessarily do it and charge it against the Adequate Education Act. And I got to talking about the bus schedules, and if we continue with these furlough plans that it seems like we are continuing with out of prudency, there could be some changes to bus operations. And I think it was you that texted me that reminded me that bus operations and being able to transport students from their bus stops to the schools is number 14 on the Adequate Education Act?
That's correct. Yeah. So the way I read the act, that comes first. The 14 points in the Adequate Education Act come ahead of everything else, and the Director of Public Works, who runs the school buses, is in charge of providing timely transportation to the schools on a regular schedule. So I've written several letters to John Fernandez and pointed out that there are an abundance of tools at his disposal, one of which is a section of the law that says if there's a conflict between that law and some other provision, the Adequate Education Act controls. So if there's talk of furloughs, this, that, and the other thing, the director cannot, as I read the act, cannot furlough school bus drivers if he can't comply with point number 14. And the same goes with John Fernandez as far as certified teachers and the other things that he needs. And the statute, believe it or not, would allow, if the Bureau of Budget and Management Research and or the Director of Administration don't give the Director of Public Works enough cash to pay those drivers or fix the buses or whatever, he is in a position where he could file suit against either one of them, at least, and maybe more.
I'd forgotten about some of those provisions of the Adequate Education Act, but it sounds to me that no matter what happens with the rest of the fiscal resources of the government of Guam, they have to maintain at least those 14 points. So if it did come to bullets and there was a requirement for a furlough, as long as the furlough items did not affect any of the 14 points, he'd be able to say, here is the pro notwithstanding side.
That's correct. That's absolutely right.
Okay. Well, and you reminded him about that?
I certainly. probably more than he would like. I just wrote a letter last night to Robert Chrysostomo, once again bringing their attention to their responsibilities under that act, because the act speaks to the board, it speaks to the director, it speaks to everybody else in the government. The beginning of the act says that it's the entire government of Guam's responsibility to provide that adequate education. So I have brought it to the board's attention, and I once again reminded at this time Robert that there's a member of that Board of Education who's a student. And if anybody should be up to speed on the act, it's him, because every student who is not the recipient of that adequate education can file suit himself and get injunctive relief or a writ or whatever.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned Rob Chrysostomo's name. It would have come up in the program yesterday, except I was distracted so many times by other stories. But I thought it was amusing that he referred to the legislature as a dysfunctional group of senators on the way to asking for revenue enhancements that would help try to resolve some of the problems that the government of Guam is facing and may be evidenced at the Department of Education.
And that's exactly why I wrote that letter. And I pointed out that as I read the law and all the laws that govern education, it is not the function of either the board or the superintendent of schools to engage in tax policy. Their job is to make sure they have enough money and to spend it wisely so kids get a good education. It's not their job to tell the government, get engaged in name-calling with the legislature and telling the legislature how it's supposed to handle tax policy. Just not their job.
Well, if the concern is that if the legislature is not doing the job that they feel that they're doing, or an adequate job of providing funding, then I think the idea is that they are going to have to backfill that with either their own revenue enhancements that they don't necessarily have the opportunity to generate, or find those savings. And I think they're up to about $19 million worth of savings from JUMP.
Well, they can do. They've got 101 employees that make over $100,000 a year. So they can find the savings. That's their job to do that. But it's not their job to take a certified teacher out of the classroom, to operate schools that are not safe and sanitary, et cetera, to do the 14 things that the statute requires.
Just a reminder that the Adequate Education Act probably needs to come in front of everything else. And before I let you all run, a kiss to Auntie Lulu for the betel nut. Ask her if she can find me some ugam.
I'll see what. Give me something easy, like.
I know it's tricky. It's tricky. Auntie Lulu comes to the radio station the other day, and she's smiling, and she got this bag of betel nut. And in the olden days, I would have shared it with my mom, but my mom died, leaving, bequeathing, if you will, the inheritance to me is that I get all of the betel nut that I can handle. And then I cut into one or two of them, and they all looked tunga, and I thought, well. You know, beggars can't be choosers, number one. But if she's going to be lurking around a couple of trees, see if she can pull down some ugam for me, all right?
We'll take care of it for you, Ray.
I appreciate that. Any thoughts on the tax increase that goes into effect on Monday or Sunday?
Well, I never saw a tax that I like. I don't care much for taxes to start with, and I've made my position known on this tax increase at the legislature. It's a regressive tax. The burden falls most heavily on those least able to bear it. So of all of the things we could have done, this is probably the toughest. And, of course, since it's a gross receipts tax, if it ever goes away, prices will not go back down. When the sales tax kicks in, the price increase brought about by the gross receipts tax will not go down. So taxpayers get hit with a double whammy. They're going to pay 1% more at the register, and then come the 1st of October, they'll pay 2% more on the 1%. So it's a double whammy if that 2% stays in place, and I have a feeling that 2% is not going to stay in place.
If anything, we're hoping for a conversion, and we can have some kind of business privilege tax for 2% and a sales tax at 2%.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. The conventional wisdom is nobody is happy to see our overall retail taxes go to 6%.
Yeah, and when you raise the gross receipts tax by 1%, then business is more than likely going to raise its prices by at least 1%. And the only way that the price would go back down if the tax were lowered is if some business could figure out a way to make a profit off the lower gross receipts tax. Businesses aren't going to lower it just because the tax went down.
Well, as I pointed out yesterday, and you might have heard this, that's going to be the new price for something. The artificial testing of the new price by the government, by the enactment of this additional tax here, is going to be pushing the prices up, and the businesses are going to say, well, the customers keep buying at that price, so guess what? That's the new price.
Yeah, I think there's a tendency to forget that people are in business because they want to make profit. They're not in business to break even or lose just a little bit of money.
Yeah. Exactly. So get ready for it. It's going to get stuck where it is, and no matter what happens with the sales tax, I think we're going to see the same thing happen there. Happy Easter to you and Auntie Lulu.
Same to you, Ray.
I'll talk to you pretty soon. It's 6:56 in the morning on the Point. My name is Ray. Great to have you here. Christine Lujan Hoffa, Chris, is on the stream on the Facebook watching with Mark Cruz and Beck Salazar. Brad Hewitt. Both will be there to cut the ribbon. That's funny. Ken is asking this morning, will the Gutnier Precinct reopen today, quote, asking for a friend? And Brad writes in, yes, BOTA will be there to cut the ribbon on the thing this morning. That's funny. Everybody got a good sense of humor on a good Friday morning. Jim Walker is on. Beck Salazar. Tracy is awake this morning. And let me see. Ken Leon Guerrero is there. Bill Pettit, Mark Colby, and I saw Uncle Carl and Auntie Jerry chime in this morning. So it looks like we've got the regular group here. If you're on this morning and want to add to the social network that we've already got here, and frankly, I'm loving the numbers considering it's a Good Friday morning. But share the video feed with family and friends wherever they happen to be, because I like the company. I like to be able to see a bunch of diverse names, and I'll tell you what, for nothing, there's the other thing is the advertisers like to see a bunch of names from different places. Yeah. Make sure that they're putting their advertising dollars someplace where there might be a couple of people like you that have the dollars to be able to support going to their businesses, and I appreciate you doing that. I had yesterday made a big deal about the online poll, and depending on how dry things get today talk-wise, I may do that a little bit more. You can go to thepoint.gu on the World Wide Web, thepoint.gu, not .com. If you go to thepoint.com, I think it takes you to a bank or a strip joint in Colorado.
The site, yeah.
Is it? Okay. Yeah, yeah. So, and so when you go there on the right-hand side, maybe halfway down, there is the online poll. Notice I did not call it the daily poll because I'm lazy. Poll results today. Let me see if I can put those up online so that you can see them on the screen, which is... There it is. Which is the weakest of the Democratic gubernatorial teams? And it's changed a lot.
Yeah,
in the last 24 hours, and it must be legitimate, because I've had people, political insiders, if you will, that their sole job used to be doing click, click, click over at Adelup or over at the legislature, and they have tried to click, click, click in order to change the way the votes are looking, and they said, frankly, they haven't been able to do it.
Nice.
Every time they've tried to log in and put in a different answer, or the same answer multiple times, they're being restricted from doing so. So, which is a good sign. I'm not saying that this is going to be the most accurate of all. I mean, it's still people basically electing themselves to the survey. We don't have the kind of numbers just yet, but
I think it's safe to say it'll be the least inaccurate.
There you go. There you go. Which is kind of where we're going with the question. Which is the weakest of the Democratic gubernatorial teams? Not the strongest, but the weakest. Yesterday, the weakest was looking like it was Gutierrez Bradallo. They are looking like the strongest. You want to have small numbers in this survey. The big number here, the biggest loser, looks like Dennis and that guy at 26.89. Lou and Josh at 25.63. Oh, wait a second. No. The biggest loser, I'm sorry, I read this wrong, is Frank and Alicia, 27.73. Then it's Dennis, then it's Lou, and then it's Gutierrez Berdalio at only 19.75. The smaller number is the stronger of the gubernatorial teams, is what we're saying this morning. If you agree with them, wonderful. You need do nothing. If you disagree with that, then go to thepoint.gu. The radio station is KUSG Hagutnya. Coming up, Fox News Live, then Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post.
Live from New York, the Fox Report.
And Lisa Brady. And this is a Fox News alert. Breaking news on a data breach. Under Armour just announcing a security breach in the MyFitnessPal health app, affecting about 150 million user accounts, though they say certain personal information is not affected, including social security numbers, driver's licenses, and credit cards. They have contacted affected users already. Tit for tat from Russia as the Kremlin tells dozens of diplomats to leave. Fox's Jared Halpern is live in Washington.
Russia is kicking out 60 American diplomats and ordering a U.S. consulate in St. Petersburg to close, retaliation for the U.S. joining dozens of allies in expelling Russian officials.
Our actions were motivated purely by the attack on the United Kingdom, the attack on a British citizen, and his daughter.
State Department spokesperson Heather Nauert says there's no justification for Russia to expel diplomats and no reason for Russia to act like a victim. The UK and Western allies say Russia is behind a nerve agent attack on a former spy and his daughter in England, a charge Russia denies. Lisa.
Well, Jared, the president not mentioning Russia during a wide-ranging speech in Ohio today aimed at promoting his plan to fix roads and bridges.
We are like, in many cases, a third world country. It's an embarrassment.
Though he predicts midterm election jitters will prevent action on the plan. Wall Street's closed tomorrow, so March ends on a high note. Today, the Dow up 254, the S&P and the Nasdaq also gaining more than 1%.
As the president was in Ohio this afternoon touting infrastructure, no big surprise the infrastructure stocks started to move higher. The steel, the concrete, the engineering, suppliers, heavy equipment. We also saw tech and energy stocks move higher today.
Fox Business Network's Ashley Webster. Fair and balanced.
For more than 40 years, we've managed our island's most precious resource, your health. Take Care's benefit plans allow members access to more than 120 medical providers, 40 dental providers, and 18 pharmacies in the region. Take Care's health plans ensure members in Palau, Saipan, and Guam receive the care they deserve. Our programs and wellness classes have proven results for our valued members, and our commitment to your health never been stronger. Take Care, our island, your health plan.
This KFC chicken is great. Shrimp. Hey, who are you calling shrimp? KFC's new shrimp burger. It's great.
Howdy, folks. KFC's Colonel Sanders here. Try our new shrimp burger and all our seafood items available this season. KFC Food Keliquin, breaded shrimp, seafood salad, and of course, we can't forget your one and only favorite KFC original recipe chicken.
All right. I need to try KFC's new shrimp burger. Good, because you really are shrimp. Hey, a 5-7.
KFC, it's finger-licking good.
The Ad Council.
A funeral and more demonstrations in Sacramento as Stephon Clark is laid to rest.
I am.
Clark's brother interrupting the funeral service at one point to begin that chant. Clark was shot in his grandparents' backyard by officers responding to a call about someone breaking car windows and apparently mistaking Clark's cell phone for a gun. Multiple investigations continue with oversight from the state attorney general's office. The FAA releasing audio on a mystery near Albuquerque last month. A plane had a relatively close encounter with something.
It's American 1095. Yeah, something just passed over us. Don't know what it was, but it's at least 3,000 feet above us. Yeah, it passed right over the top of us.
The pilot's calling it an unidentified flying object, though the FAA notes all kinds of military and civilian aircraft, including weather balloons, are in the area every day. This particular UFO did not show up on the radar. Millions of sports fans had today marked on the calendar. Opening day for Major League Baseball, and on the very first pitch of the season.
Morena to Happ, and a drive to right.
Go, baby!
What were you saying, Jimmy?
Yes, sir!
Good! Oh, baby!
Oh, my!
In half of the Cubs with a home run on WGN Sports, part of a 3-run first inning for Chicago against Miami's Jose Urena at Marlins Park. All 30 teams scheduled to be in action today, but 2 games were postponed by rain in Detroit and Cincinnati. Meantime, Mets fans mourning the loss of one of their greats, Rusty Staub. He was 73, died this morning after a number of health issues in recent years, and only hours before the start of baseball season. The Mets, though, did win their opener. Lisa Brady on Fox News Radio.
Ready to buy real estate on Guam? Congratulations! But what now? There are so many questions, so many things to do. Where do you start? The best place to start is to call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty, Guam's biggest name in real estate. They aren't the best because they're the biggest. They're the biggest because they're the best. Trust the name. Find out why. Call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty today. 888-2121. Trust the best.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
How about when we lend you money for your home, we pay for your appraisal? That's right. When we make you a loan, we'll pay for the actual cost of your standard appraisal up to $1,500. Add that to our super low rates and you'll see why so many people are coming to Bank Pacific for their home loan. So join them by joining us, Bank Pacific, where we're open to closing your loan in a hurry.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, credit conditions apply.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
Water. It covers nearly 3/4 of our Earth. From vast oceans to millions of rivers and streams, we're all concerned with protecting our world's water. But none is more important than the water you and your family drink and use throughout your home. A Connecticut water treatment system can improve your water so that your family is using the best water in the world. Connecticut, for refreshing ideas on water.
American Water Tech. Smarter water. Better water. Call American Water Tech at 649-2301 or email info@americanwatertech.com.
Afade and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 7 a.m. this Good Friday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. 20-year-old Airman First Class Bradley Hale has been identified as the service member who died in an apparent stabbing at Andersen Air Force Base early on Tuesday morning. Air Force officials say that a suspect is in custody but has not been charged yet. The suspect's name has not been released. Hale was temporarily assigned to Andersen from Louisiana's Barksdale Air Force Base, which is home to the B-52s. Hale is originally from Montgomery, Texas. An Air Force medical examiner from Okinawa due on island today to conduct a forensic autopsy on Hale at Naval Hospital to learn the exact cause of his death. Personal financial records of 154 students at the University of Guam have been compromised. The data breach includes the students' Social Security numbers and how much in student loans or Pell Scholarship grants they received. The university issued a statement yesterday saying an unnamed employee in UOG's financial aid office inadvertently sent an email on March 27th containing what's supposed to be private information on the students to 196 unauthorized recipients. Jonas Macapinlack, Director of Integrated Marketing Communications at the university, said it was not malicious, and this is the first time it's ever happened. He said they're taking a look at their protocols to make sure it never happens again. Macapinlac said that UOG immediately enacted fraud prevention protocols, began an investigation. The unintended recipients of the email have been contacted and asked to delete that email. The students whose information was compromised have also been contacted, and UOG will provide them with free credit monitoring services for the next 12 months. We'll have more news after this.
Yes, money is something we should talk about and plan for and use to make life better. It's how we make our giant leap from where we are to where we want to be. So let's talk together and work together to check off shiny new kitchens, fully nested dorm rooms, and bucket lists with more countries than our passports can hold. Let's check them all off together. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC.
The stations of Choice Broadcasting are celebrating April 2018 as National Earth Month in the first ever Upcycle Mascot Showdown. We've invited the public elementary 5th grade classes to set the example and build their school mascots completely out of recyclable material. Come down to the Chamorro Village Festival Huts on April 21st from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. for a full day of fun. Support your school's mascot and be sure to vote for your favorite. Judges pick the first place winner. The public votes for the second place winner. Celebrate Earth Month with our students in the Upcycle Mascot Showdown. Brought to you by Leo Palace Resort Guam, Dr. Yang Dental, Denny's of Guam, and The Point.
News time here at The Point is 11 minutes past 7 a.m. The A.B. Wonpat International Airport Authority recording an increased net income of $9.6 million from the previous year's restated net income of $7 million. That, according to an audit report released yesterday. Airport Executive Manager Chuck Atta said that fiscal year 2017 was the second consecutive record-breaking year for the airport in terms of passenger numbers, from 1.77 million passengers in fiscal 2016 to 1.85 million passengers a year later. Despite the suspension of flights by EVA Air and Hong Kong Express and the reduction in flights by some of the major carriers, Atta said the airport managed to record its highest volume of passenger traffic ever. Numbers, however, do not yet reflect the complete pullout of Delta Airlines from Guam and reduced flights by United. The airport's revenue for its duty-free concessionaire remained relatively flat at $15.3 million, mainly from the minimum annual rent from Lotte Duty Free Guam, which has been paying each year for the past several years. While the airport saw continued robust visitor arrivals, the average spending per passenger for general merchandise at the airport, food and beverage, was down 4.2% to $8.79 million versus $9.58 in the previous year. Meanwhile, a woman and a man have been charged in a Superior Court in connection with an alleged burglary and theft that took place on March 8th at the Familia Mart in Chalampago. Doña Marie Tenorio, also known as Saki, and Anthony Jesus Uncanco were charged with burglary to a motor vehicle as a second-degree felony and theft as a misdemeanor, according to court documents. Video footage from the store shows the couple arriving in a Nissan Frontier pickup. Uncanco went into the store to buy something, while Tenorio is seen opening the rear driver's side door of a white Nissan Sentra parked next to their truck, grabbing a bag from the back seat before getting back into their truck. Surveillance footage led police to the couple and their eventual arrest. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Here's Ray with some weather.
It says today and tonight, considerable cloudiness with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. And my buddy Mark up in Gigo says you get that weird kind of feeling. It's a cool, light kind of rain that's falling up there. He says it reminds him of pre-typhoon stuff. Hey. Don't say the T word there, Mark. We appreciate you keeping that to yourself. Let me know what the weather's like, though. Kind of curious as to what it's like down around Route 2 on the Agate-Umatic Road. Line of traffic there that starts pretty much in Umatic and goes pretty much to Agate. A lot of people trying to make their way down there for the Good Friday observations. At any rate, isolated thunderstorms could be in the forecast for the weekend as well. Southeast winds to about 20 miles an hour, shifting to the south, diminishing 5 to 15 miles an hour tonight. Daytime highs around 87 degrees and overnight lows near 77 degrees. Over the Easter weekend, partly sunny days, partly cloudy nights with isolated showers. South winds 10 to 15 miles an hour. Highs near 88 degrees and overnight lows of about 76 degrees. Now, I'm not going to say right now whether it's going to be rainy or Sunday on Easter morning. So, moms and dads, plan B. have a plan B, right? We know we want to do something with the kids and the Easter eggs, but if it's coming down cats and dogs outside, then maybe it would be a good idea to have a plan B for an indoor. Oh, the Easter Bunny got inside this year.
That's right.
Kind of thing. 7:14 or so. That's news and weather together right here on The Point.
We have those moments in our lives that happen unpredictably. The unexpected instances that we did not really need. Now you can count on us to stay well, Papa, to live well, Papa, to stay well, making sure you stay well. Oh, we'll lift you up when times are low. I'll see how far we'll go, and stay well.
Stay Well Insurance. See how far we'll go.
7:15 o'clock in the morning. Portions of the program brought to you by King's Restaurant, for decades serving your favorites to you and your family. Always open, always local. That's King's Restaurant.
When the power goes out on Guam, the little things can become surprisingly big. Small comforts are often the things we miss most during a power outage. That is why Kohler built the fastest responding generator sets in the industry. Whether you are at home or away, a residential Kohler generator will enable you and your family to live life without interruption. Kohler gas, LPG, and diesel power systems are available from Morrico Equipment, LLC on Epal Road. Call 649-1946. That's 649-1946.
Get a wrap for breakfast, get a wrap for lunch. Brand new wrap sandwiches available for you at Subway. Fresh, it's what they do. They've got this tomato basil. They've got this, what's the other one? Spinach wraps, right? So you get your meals, you get your sandwiches in that. Now, they got one that's a turkey, and then they got another one that's a chicken, and they're the signature wrap sandwiches, right? But any other sandwich that you enjoy at Subway, they can put there in that wrap. Now, it is pretty soon going to be the 1st of April. On the 8th of April is going to be the United Guam International Marathon, and you need to be backing away from carbs right now. And so the suggestion is you go to Subway, but instead of getting the Subway and the big, 9 or 12-inch sub sandwich bread, have your meal, get the proteins, get the vegetables, get your sauces, get that on the wrap bread, less carbs. And I'm not saying back away from carbs completely, but you get your carbs from the beer and less from the sandwich. That's the way it works out.
Moderation.
It is. It's science. It's athletic science, and I'm an expert at being able to justify drinking beer. It's 7:16 in the morning. Enjoy Subway. Fresh is what they do.
Ready to buy real estate on Guam? Congratulations! But what now? There's so many questions, so many things to do. Where do you start? The best place to start is to call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty, Guam's biggest name in real estate. They aren't the best because they're the biggest. They're the biggest because they're the best. Trust the name. Find out why. Call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty today. 888-2121. Trust the best.
The Ray Gibson Show. News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. Turn it up. Now tell a friend.
Share, share. Get the word out. Raymond Gibson is back on the radio. He's doing Talk on FM. Which is where it should have always been on FM. It just sounds better. 64.93. How much? What's that number attached to? 64.93.
I'm hoping it's Tapas.
It's the year you were born, actually. 64.93. No, that's West Texas today. West Texas up by 0.85%. There's not a huge increase there for the price of West Texas crude. How are we doing on Tapas? Tapas down by 67 cents for a barrel. Back down in the 70s. Yesterday traded at 71 and 38 cents for a barrel of Tapas. Today trading at $70.71. But the warning is, one day does not a trend make. So we'll just keep an eye on this, and maybe over the weekend, the next couple of trading days, we'll see this thing go down a little bit more, and maybe we can get away from the dire predictions that I have been making that the price of gasoline is going to be going up. It hasn't yet. If it's still $4.17 at the gas station near you, and you are anywhere less than half on the tank, I'd put some more in. If you've got the means to do it now. Why? Because we've got the GRT that's going up by 1% on Sunday, number one, and number two, I got a feeling that they're going to be raising the price of everything.
Liquid fuel is exempt.
Liquid fuel, because it's already got the 15 cents. That's right. Oh, thank goodness. Yeah, but I have. You know what? I haven't been to the gas station and just bought gas.
I filled up yesterday. On your advice.
In forever. Because you go and you say, okay, I got the gas. And then you go back inside and you say, hey, they got beer in here. Hey, they got chips. Is that the 4-pack of Reese's? That's amazing. What is that, 2 for 1? I think I'm going to get me some of that. Okay, so the price for tapas, as I was saying, is down just a hair. On the markets, the lady on Fox she's just the best at being breathless about where the Dow ends. She makes a 9% drop sound like the end of the world, and she makes it sound kind of juicy when we get a 255-point jump like we did today. The Dow at 24,103. That's up by better than 8%. See, I got to make it clear. 254. Wow, 254 and percent of the whole thing. So
but when we were kids, 254, that was a huge jump back then.
Well, yeah, but when we were kids, the Dow was trading like the NASDAQ. NASDAQ
like,
today at 7,063. Yeah, we've seen the Dow. If you take a look since we were kids. It's worth looking at. Maybe I'll do that after the break and just see where the Dow has been. I mean, just since Trump has been the president. I mean, how many 1,000-point increases have we seen since then? It wasn't that far long ago. We were at 26.
On December 31st, 1984.
Yeah.
The Dow was 1211.57.
1211, 1,200. 1,211.
Yep, and it only got as high as 1,500 by 1986.
That's the thing. So you watch how fast we have seen these incremental jumps by 1,000 points, and in the last few years we've seen them come with a lot more frequency. Nasdaq at 7,063, up by 114 points, and the S&P 500 closed up by 35 points at 2,640. For those of you that are buying stuff in those particular indexes, going to Japan, buy an index. I have a fund that is matched to the Nikkei, and today's a good day for it. They're up by 127 points to close at 21,159 for the Nikkei. And if you're going to Japan for Easter weekend, 106.45. Now, my buddy Brad was talking about being in Korea for the Easter weekend, and I'd love to be able to pull up and see what the Korean won is doing right now. But frankly, I've never understood that currency. It doesn't make any sense to me. Then there's the Vietnam dong, and it's like thousands, to the dollar. I don't understand.
Kind of like the Thai baht.
It's the one where you actually have to do mathematics if you want to figure out what the exchange rate is. What do we got here? Who's mad at who? Advertisers, including Nestle, are dumping Laura Ingraham after she slammed Parkland survivor David Hoggs. You're not allowed to do that? Is that the thing? You're not allowed to go after guys just because they're young? I'll read up on this. If you hit the $502 million Mega Millions jackpot, here's how to keep it quiet. I've often thought that maybe we ought to send somebody. What's the name of the lady that we've got up in Washington, D.C. at the governor's office there? Pudding.
Margaret?
Yeah, Margaret Metcalf. Yeah. Right? So this is what we need to do in order to help the government of Guam. There's a $502 million Mega Millions jackpot going on. So what we do is we give Margaret like $100 and tell her to go to a gas station and buy a whole bunch of these Mega Millions jackpot sweepstakes tickets. And who knows? I mean, she could hit the jackpot, hit the lottery, and then we take this $502 million and give it to Eddie Calvo.
Yeah.
Right? And then we wouldn't have to do the tax increases, and we wouldn't have to do furlough Fridays, and we wouldn't have to do any of that stuff.
And we get to have a carnival.
It's an interesting plan. I don't know. Somebody should try it. I did. The last time I was in North Carolina, I was visiting my dad, and they had one of these multiple state jackpot things going on, and I put some money down. I put some money down at the gas station.
You took a walk on the wild side.
Didn't win jack. Didn't win jack. Yeah. Thanks very much for the money. Our educational system appreciates it. But maybe we ought to do one of those here. Maybe we ought to do something along those lines here. I know we've got the Wagon Sanso one that for the Olympics.
It's gambling, all forms of gambling. No.
That's bull. Let's
just call it bingo.
You know, there's a bunch of there's a bunch of do-gooders out there that write better press releases than anybody else. Is the problem? We're talking about, and it's the lottery, for heaven's sakes. It's not real gambling. It's just put a few dollars in and put down your kids' birthdays or your social security number, and who knows, maybe you win and maybe you don't. In the meantime, the government's got to use all of those dollars. Simon Sanchez would know, because Simon Sanchez actually helped operate a lottery here on Guam back in the late 70s and the early 80s. What else is big in the news scene? Okay, and I think that is plenty for this morning's market report. It is 7:23. Now would be a good time for the Extra Point with Jerry Roberts.
In your organization, are you seen as someone who just gives orders or who jumps in to help when circumstances call for that? I'm Jerry Roberts, and let's talk about setting an example today on the Extra Point. In my time, I've worked for a fair number of managers, and some didn't exactly lead well by example when troubled times hit. When equipment problems forced most everybody to work overtime to finish projects, the manager went home and slept on a normal schedule while others stayed until the wee hours of the morning to finish. I had a friend, Jack, who vowed that if he was ever in a position to lead a team, he would never require anyone to do things he wasn't willing to do himself. Jack eventually became a magazine publisher, a business with definite deadlines. During one such cycle, it seemed that every production computer in the office was down in some way. Jack had 2 days to get the digital files to the printer, or he'd lose his place in line, and the magazine would come out very late. He asked his graphic artist to work as long as it took to finish, and that would mean overnight at least once. The artist had another job, which complicated the matter, but he agreed. They had 2 days to do a week's worth of work, so Jack took on part of the load. He worked all day with his regular duties, then began with the graphics. It turned into the all-nighter he anticipated. However, with the computer system giving him fits, he and the graphic designer didn't finish as much as he'd hoped. The designer went home to sleep, and Jack kept working. It turned into a second all-nighter. His wife brought him food and urged him to sleep, but Jack couldn't stop. They were 70% done, and if both he and the artist could work a few more hours, it would get done. And then Jack could deliver the files to the printer on schedule that night. By the time the job was completed and Jack transferred the files to the printer, he literally could not see straight. He went home, collapsed into bed, and slept for about 15 hours. The upshot of this is that Jack had proven himself willing to not just give orders for people to work extra hours and difficult schedules, but that he was willing to be a part of that with them, to roll up his sleeves and do it himself. He didn't just talk it, he walked it too. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3, I'm Jerry Roberts.
That's fact. That's a fact. Anybody knows and worked around me for a long time knows that I am unwilling to just delegate and not participate in the work. The only thing that I can't do, and it's because I'm a fraidy cat, is climb the tower.
Yeah.
I'll do anything else. I'll hold the rope. You going up there? We're going to assemble an antenna on the tower this weekend. I will be there for every minute of that job. I might not be up there with you because that's a dumb job. Sorry, you climbing up there, up in 50 feet up in the sky, and the only thing you're holding on to is a hook and a rope on the thing. Now you do that. I'll stay down here at the bottom and watch you. But there's something that needs to be said about that. I've worked with people that have no problems doing delegation, and then they go home and enjoy the weekend and Netflix and chill with their family while you're slaving away at the office. 7:28 in the morning. That's the Extra Point. If you want a transcript of that, go to GuamTraining.com on the World Wide Web, and if it's too hard to remember, go to thepoint.gu, and where it says on air, click on that. Jerry Roberts and his bio sheet will come up on top of that. That's the Extra Point. We'll take a quick break. Headlines on the way.
Every time I travel, there's something from home that I can't leave without. I take my Docomo Pacific Data to Go to share my stories in Taiwan, check subway routes in Tokyo, be my food guide in Hong Kong, meet new friends in the Philippines, make updates in the States, find my way around Korea, and check out all the cool shows in Singapore. It's the data I have in all the places I love. for only $10 a day. Data to go from Docomo Pacific. Better together.
There's no traffic on Guam today. It's Good Friday. I'm not seeing anything except, as I've mentioned all morning long, a little bit of a buildup down on Route 2, the Agate-Umatic Road. In both directions, you might see a line of cars, and they're parked. That's people that are headed up the hill. But it is slowing down traffic in both directions, leading up to that area at the SETI Overlook there. So that's one of the reasons why it is as busy as it is. But everywhere else I'm looking at on the maps, it is smooth going. Marine Corps Drive down south, into and out of Tamuning. Some of the usual hot spots over by the airport. Everything is clear this morning. Enjoy your ride to work. 729. That's right now traffic on the point.
Come out for the 4th annual Chucky Run and Fun 5K, 2K, and Flyaway giveaway. Join us Saturday, April 14th at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam. Show at 5:30 and go at 6 a.m. T-shirts, medals, and other cool prizes, refreshments, and indoor activities after the races. Grand prize drawing for all participants is a trip package for 2 to Manila. Register at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam. $8 for students, $12 for adults, and Group of 4 Super Saver for just $35. The 4th annual Chuck E. Run and Fun 5K, 2K, and Flyaway giveaway. See you there.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is health care that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Lottery. Let's do it. You want it? What are you doing later?
Yeah.
Let's go stand up a lottery.
You know, actually, there is a lottery on. What is it, the Australian sporting?
Yeah, it's the one that we do with the GNOC.
Yeah.
And we've had winners here. That I want to say not that long ago, somebody won a decent amount of money.
Yeah.
And that
I haven't
turned
heard
into
about
some
that
dough
for a long time, though.
from the government. Well, I couldn't tell you how many people are still playing with that game. We'll look it up and see what the explains are on the web here these days. But Jerry writes in, a lottery would only be about $340 million before taxes on an immediate payout. Otherwise, you take it over 30 years. So maybe the total cash in hand might only be $200 million.
Yeah, but we only need 67.
I'll take $1 million.
Well, 67. I mean, if you won, think about it. What would what's the percentage here for just a second? What was the number I was talking about for $504 million? And they're going to get you at the high end 30%.
Yeah, about least? 30. Yeah, about 30 to 40.
So 502 is $150 million for the government of Guam, and in the right now tax that you would have to pay.
Good money.
So we just get somebody. So if everybody could put $100 towards this, somebody is going to win, and then the government will get $150 million from whatever the percentage of the take is going to be. This is a brilliant plan.
Let's go for it.
Let's do it. Everybody, $100. Go. Hit it. 733. What's that? What happened?
Had a caller just call in and say that the lottery is not headed under the GNOC anymore. It's the GFA.
The GFA, which is?
Guam Football Association.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's new. Yeah. Did they give you a name and a phone number?
No.
I got to dig. Call back with the name and the phone number. We'll call somebody and see if we can raise some money for the GFA, the Guam what again?
Football Association.
Guam Football Association. Mm-hmm. Is it soccer, football, or okay?
Soccer,
so the soccer guys, not the Major League. Okay,
it's
gotcha.
not real football.
Okay, they're calling back with a thing. So press the button on that, and we'll press the button on headlines with Kevin Kerrigan from the Guam Daily Post.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 33 minutes past 7 a.m. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, ready or not, the temporary increase in the business privilege tax is set to take effect on April 1st, provided no last-minute snag is found in the revised fiscal realignment plan submitted Wednesday by the governor. The business privilege tax will increase 1 percentage point from 4% to 5% on Easter Sunday. Rev and Tax Director John Camacho telling the Post yesterday that they're ready. The revised tax forms showing the new BPT rate should be available on the Reventax website by this evening, he said. He called it a minor adjustment to the current BPT form and pointed out that the forms can be filed online as well. The increased BPT rate expected to bring in about $5 million a month, said Camacho, raising a total of $30 million before it expires on September 30th. The Guam Police Department has announced that the Agana Precinct Command will reopen this evening at 6 p.m. The precinct was shut down earlier this month, and its officers were transferred to the Department of Corrections in an effort to help reduce overtime at the prison. Police Chief Joseph Cruz announced yesterday that 19 officers have now been reassigned back to the Agana Precinct Command for patrol operations. The chief said that 18 officers will remain at DOC to continue assisting the Department of Corrections with its personnel shortage and savings on overtime there. More contraband discovered at the prison yesterday in Manila following an early morning shakedown on Thursday morning. DOC Deputy Director Kate Baltazar saying that 3 mobile phones with chargers, a small resealable bag with drug paraphernalia, and a pocket knife were all recovered. Corrections officers also found an inmate with a residual amount of marijuana and various drug paraphernalia. Brian Jacob Leon Guerrero was booked and confined. Baltazar says he is serving time for aggravated assault and use of a deadly weapon in the commission of a felony. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
7:35 is iConnect time. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk mobile and internet plans.
At GTA, we believe you deserve better than home internet with hidden data fees. That's why all our internet plans are unlimited, because streaming your favorite shows while cooking dinner shouldn't cause indigestion when the internet bill comes. So the choice is yours. Bill shock with the other guys, or a life unlimited with GTA. Say goodbye to hidden data fees and make the switch today. GTA, your island, your network.
Lord, I just want to be as happy as the people in the cell phone ads. It's time for a Cold Stone break. Try the new strawberry shortcake and fresh lemon pie ice cream. Why do you want to do this? Because it's Good Friday, and these are good for you. Mix them in with your favorite fruits and nuts and candies, or even the golden Oreo cookies. The Dalai Lama makes golden Oreo cookies. He's got a special golden Oreo cookie factory out in Mongolia, where he lives with the Urdus and the llamas. And they make golden Oreo cookies.
They're delicious.
They're hard to get, is the point
They
that
really
I'm... And so you want the golden Oreo cookies, not any ordinary ones. When you mix them in with the strawberry shortcake and the fresh lemon pie ice cream at Cold Stone Creamery at GPO and the Micronesia Mall.
We have some really great home loan programs, but did you know we have great business loans too? Every day we're working with companies to purchase equipment, to buy or build properties, or make tenant improvements. We offer letters of credit, working capital, and term loans, and we make all of our credit decisions here. Commercial loans, commercial banking from Bank Pacific.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. BIBA Bank Pacific.
I'm just doing this because I like the music now for the traffic. That's all there is to it, because there is no traffic on Guam today. Maybe a little bit down at Route 2 at Agate-Umatic Road, Desetti Overlook for everybody that's climbing Humujung Manglu today. Other than that, there is no traffic. And to show how little traffic there is, fresh from the road, she was just out there running and doing her morning constitutional, Heidi Ballendorf.
Good morning, buenas, manana sa juice.
Good to see you here. So
I love this studio, by the way.
I'm
really
glad. I built it for you.
I haven't. Yeah, this is my first time, and I come bearing gifts.
Oh, well, we'll get to that in just a second. I'm trying to do the traffic report.
Okay,
so
sorry.
Did you see any traffic while you were out running?
You're right. No traffic.
There's no traffic.
Dogs up.
There's nothing happening.
You said it right. They're all down in.
You can't say it, can you? It took me years to... Humujung Manglo is down there, and the Manglo means it's a very windy place, and everybody's making that wet
You said
climb
it very well.
up there this morning. Okay, so we'll talk about the gifts that you're bearing here in just moments. Heidi Ballendorf with Ray Gibson and Kevin Kerrigan and Mike Knight on the point.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter, so all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
This KFC chicken is great. Shrimp. Hey, who are you calling shrimp? KFC's new shrimp burger. It's great. Howdy, folks. KFC's Colonel Sanders here. Try our new shrimp burger and all our seafood items available this season. KFC Food Kelequin, breaded shrimp, seafood salad, and of course, we can't forget your one and only favorite KFC original recipe chicken. All right. I need to try KFC's new shrimp burger. Good, because you really are shrimp. Hey, a 5-7. KFC. It's finger-licking good.
I got 20 minutes away from 8 o'clock in the morning. Good Friday morning. My name is Ray. And before we get to Heidi and the gifts that she is bearing, I do want to spend a minute with Mark on the line. We were talking about the lottery here. And I remember, and Heidi will remember back in the small 80s where we had a lottery here on Guam. And there is kind of a thing going on. The GNOC apparently was doing sports bingo, but when I wasn't looking, I blinked, and now it's somebody else. Mark, what's the story on that?
Well, it got switched over to the Guam Football Association beginning of last year.
Okay, why?
I don't know. The company that runs it has to pick a nonprofit, or I think that's what they call it, a nonprofit organization, to be the beneficiary of the additional funds that they make when they sell the tickets.
Yeah.
And I found it kind of funny that it happened, but I didn't. I heard through the grapevine that I guess some of the different athletic associations were having a beef with the GNOC as the head organization.
No, I've never heard of such a thing.
Yeah,
really?
we never heard that. No.
Are you kidding?
No. Perish the thought.
You guys should be politicians.
My. I'm shocked and amazed that there was issues. They're in alphabetical order. You could put the number of people that have got some problems. So now, so the GFA working directly with the sports bingo guys, right? So that means that there is no longer any go-between them and the funds. It's not like GFA's got to go kiss somebody's butt over at the GNOC to get their share.
Correct. Yeah. So now it's just direct to the GFA.
Okay. So who do we talk to over at the GFA?
Oh well, Tino is the president. But Sherry Stewart is probably the one you want to talk to. She's the executive director.
Okay. Well, if because I know you're on the road right now and always working, when you get to a stable place, see if you can dig out a couple of phone numbers for me, because I'm lazy.
Okay. I'll WhatsApp it to you.
Hey, you're my vast unpaid research department on the Ray Gibson Show. You want a title? I'll give you a title.
Titles are important, Raymond. We're in Guam. We're into titles.
You know what? I'd accept a discount over an infusion, but I don't know if you could swing that with Mika.
Probably not. But I'll see what I can do.
Stirs, 25 cents.
7:42. I'll talk to you pretty soon, Mark. Have an awesome morning. Ray Gibson Show until it's not going to be anymore. And then Heidi Ballendorf in the studio, and for no other reason, Kevin came in and he showed me this massive binder. And is that all of your dad's scripts, every single one?
Plus about 4 more boxes in my second bedroom.
Wow.
That's the sum total of what I basically got for cleaning out Dad's office that he never threw anything away for about 40 years. I mean, I have Dad's driver's license from Saipan circa 1967.
Great.
My friends go, wow, he looked like Omar Sharif.
Yeah.
My dad was very handsome in the day, so. But anyway, so that's what I have. I decided, I'm taking these because I spent a month cleaning out your office. This is before he passed away.
No, the idea here, and it's a project that we've been working working on for a long time. In fact, we have some in the can right now.
Right, I'm really hoping.
Where we've got voices of some of the people here that aren't Dirk Ballendorf, but certainly influenced by him.
Right.
And they are reading many of those scripts. So one of these days, and I hope not too much further down the road, you'll be able to hear Island Insights again, as read, as annotated by some of Guam's most notable voices.
And thanks for your support and vision and being so how can we do
There's
it?
I mean, you can use the studio anytime you like.
You made a pathway for us. We got in here. We put, as you said, they're in the can. Kevin's going to do some. I've actually done a couple. And I'm excited. April would have been April 22nd would have been Dad's 79th birthday. So hopefully we can get some on the radio in time for his birthday. That'll be our goal.
Okay, so
because we're trying for Chamorro month, but April 1st is when we go back to being Americans. So Chamorro month is almost over.
So here's
That's always my
this is the deal, and if you are a civic-minded business and would like to help out, let me make the deal a little bit more public, and so. I don't own the Island Insights.
Right, I do.
So I won't. I cannot sell advertising for those things. Right. Heidi does own the Island Insights, and we would like to have Heidi sell advertising to support Island Insights. But Heidi doesn't want the money. We want that money instead to go to Mark.
To Mark, because this year is 50-year anniversary of the Micronesian Area Research Center.
So what will happen is that Heidi will sell the advertisements. They will run with Island Insights here on The Point, and maybe even the other radio stations of choice broadcasting, for which you will only pay whatever it is that Heidi is going to be charging you, and that will be sent over to Mark to support.
But,
you can't do it for zero. We got to make some money on this. Somebody, the Mark has got to make some money on this.
Mark's going to make the money, not me personally.
So we're all just going to be passing through this, right?
Right. And obviously that'll be a donation to the foundation. It goes to the UOG Endowment Foundation. So it's all good for the community, and Mark. Celebrating 50 years this year, and I was thinking about it on my walk. I said, so that means it started, 1968, under, I think, Tulling Titano's dad. And Dad came to Mark in 1979, hired by Rosa Carter.
Yeah, well.
So after he was the president of the Community College of Micronesia, and got himself into a little bit of a jam. Sometimes us Ballendorfs are our own worst enemy.
Well,
anyway, he was, as I said, he was the president of the community college for 2.5, almost 3 years. And, our family loved being in Pohnpei. But he got really mad at a teacher down there. And of course, he's lucky. It was 1978-9 when you do something like. He probably would have normally been put in jail for something.
Well,
like what
there's not one of us
he clocked someone. But anyway,
couldn't be in jail for 5 years for something. We just haven't been caught for it.
Right.
So for a lot of people, he was Mark. He's synonymous with Mark. And I tell you what, one of the guys, and this, is our classmate Eric Forbes. Polly Eric, and Polly Eric is the new Dirk Ballendorf.
Right. Totally. And he likes to say, your dad. He recorded, I think, a couple in the can, and he said, my impression of your dad was he was just kind of a cantankerous, guy. And I said, oh yeah, he kind of was like that, But it's great to see what Father Forbes is doing.
Well, if you want information on the plan that we've got, find Heidi, find me, and we'll put something together.
You can email me, Heidi@guam.net. Or I don't think I'm that hard to find. Okay, I also want to talk about my last fundraiser real quick too, Evan.
Sure.
But before that, I bring gifts for each of you gentlemen in honor of Easter, and I'm wearing mine.
Right.
I'm a Thriver. Okay, can you see it? So you're each.
But
no?
Okay. But the camera's over
I
there.
want you to put. Kevin, which one would you like to wear? This is an appetite suppressant, and you're gonna wear it for 24 hours, even in the shower. Or if you go swimming or walking or whatever exercise. So you're going to put it on right now is 8 o'clock almost. So you're going to leave it on till tomorrow, 8 o'clock. And you're going to call me and tell me you're right. I really wasn't that hungry for the fish I was supposed to have, tonight. Okay, so pick the one you want. It's going to be 2, though. So you're going to, whichever 2. And you put it either... Ray, you're going to either put it on your shoulder or here, or you can put it above your noggin. I'm sure you're not going to want to show us that one. But I want you to put it on now. Let's go.
Okay. Well, I'm just
you tear it. You just pull it off very easily. Or why don't you put it on just like I have mine?
Put it on the arm? Okay.
Yeah. Put it on the arm. And then when
Heidi thinks that she's my only sister.
Yeah, you're surrounded by women. And when you want another one tomorrow, you call me and I'll bring it to you. Okay.
So it's an appetite suppressant.
Yeah, every 24 hours you're going to put and it doesn't mean you won't be hungry at all.
Yeah.
But you probably will not be as hungry and you won't eat as much. I guarantee.
But why? I like to eat.
I know not, but we could probably at our age, not you of course, but me.
So that means that steak that
and
I
then,
bought
Mike,
for
I have
this afternoon, I won't want that.
I have a set for you, Mike. Okay.
So how does this stuff work?
It is all natural. It's all
what
natural.
chemicals are we putting in our body?
It's all
methamphetamine.
No, you're not going to feel like that at all. It's all natural.
Yeah, the diet pills from the 60s. What were those? That was ice.
No, it's all. Yeah, thanks, Mike. It's all natural. It's got a lot. It does have green tea in it. It's got some proprietary blend. I will WhatsApp you the link so you can research it. Okay. I am a thriver and have been for the last several months, and I really notice. Not only appetite is less, but also mood. You feel better. Like you're not as... Exactly, Michael.
Okay, Shelly wants some.
No problem, Shelly. I got you here. I'm going to go home and get some more, and I'll give it... Okay, I give that to Shelly.
The last one?
I'll give that to Shelly.
Okay.
And then, Mike, I'll bring you some, okay?
Mike's skinny already.
We all need
He's not training for something. Are you in the GIM?
I'm like trying to get over menopause. That's what I'm working on here. And I have this new theory. Those of us former athletes, because there is an athlete under all this fat, the sport that we once did that, we could easily eat whatever we wanted and lose weight doesn't work anymore after 40 years I've been running. I started running in Pohnpei in 1978.
So I have a theory about that.
Yeah.
And the theory is, and you and I like distance running. We like running, period.
Right.
But, my preference is distance running, right? Yeah. And so my body knows that I'm going to put it through some kind of serious stress.
Right.
For several hours and Saturday and Sunday. Right. And so my body then is conditioned itself now to take every kind of nutrition, every sugar molecule that there is, and immediately turn it into fat.
Right.
Because it is this guy is going to screw with me over the weekend. I want to be ready for it. And so in order to continue to bring the pounds down, I have to eat less because everything that I bring in turns to fat. So your body's just conditioned.
And also you've got to throw in at least once or twice a week some like you've got to do, heart rate fartlek runs. You got to do like a 5-minute hard or even less than that. The doctor says maybe even just 2 minutes hard, 1 minute easy, like that. You got to do HIIT workout at least once or twice a week.
Yeah,
so that's really the key.
High intensity interval training.
You got to get the heart rate up and don't do. And you like to go out and run a lot of distance. I don't. There was a time there where I was running 60, 70 miles a week. I don't want to do that anymore. Yeah.
Certain ages. There's Netflix. That's what I'm shooting for. Anyway.
Okay. Can we talk about one more thing? Do we have time?
Yeah. Well, it's Good Friday. What else is there?
Okay. Good. So one more thing is that this year I'm doing our very last Tourism Education Council wine event. And next week, Donna, our classmate Donna, is going to come on and give away tickets to the event. It's April 12th.
That would be Donna Baker?
Donna Kanata.
Oh, Donna.
Our classmate.
Donna Kanata. Yeah.
She's our chair. And Wave Clubs have been around for 30 years. And we've been doing this event now. I've done it 13 times. And I've decided this year is time to say goodbye to this event. We're gonna go out with a bang. It's gonna be 80s. It's gonna be all 80s, which we're familiar with the 80s.
You had me at wine, but okay.
Yeah, and you're gonna come because you're not gonna MC the whole thing because you and Mika are gonna come and be my guests and have fun. Because I decided another thing on my walk today. I just want to make it a fun event where all my friends and people that have helped us over the years do this event. I was remembering the first one I did was 2006 with Sissy Bamba and Brian Artero. I'd only been home a year. Only people I knew were you guys, my classmates. And I said, okay. Oscar Miyashita said, I want to do a fundraiser. And I was like, okay. I used to I'm a fundraiser. That's what I do in Hawaii. I raised $1.5 million every year. I can do this, right? But I hadn't been home in so long. And we had great community support that year. I didn't know how it was going to turn out. I said, we had no money. So I was walking around town trying to find a location. We came up with the old Kicks. Remember the old Kicks?
Yeah.
So that's where we had the very first one. Patrick Palomo played for like $200.
Can't get that now.
I know. Brian Artero got the food for like $700, so we spent $900 and raised $12,000. I was flabbergasted in the middle of Governor Camacho's second re-election effort. And everyone came, and it was an awesome event. So Brian and
when
Sissy,
is the next one now?
April 12th.
April 12th.
Next week, Friday. Wow. Donna, I sent you a WhatsApp on it.
Okay.
Donna will come next. Mike is going to arrange for Donna to come.
When did you send me a WhatsApp?
And you even responded and said, we want to be sponsors. That was like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, you got
promise.
Okay. So I must have.
You said yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
you said you would.
okay.
You would come and. I don't want you to feel obligated to MC. I just want you to come and jump up every now and then, grab the mic, wear your members only jacket, dress 80s, find some 80s clothes in your closet, which I know you still have.
I still
and
can.
you
Okay.
can
So the 12th, and
Yeah.
details will be forthcoming on where you can get tickets and all that. Now, there is one piece of business that I promised somebody that I'd get to yesterday, and it was Becky, and she lives down Agate Santa Rita area, and she'd called in about there has been some road work associated with the new lines that you
in
guys
Agate
are
and
putting
Santa
in.
Rita, yes,
Yeah.
we're putting in new water lines down there.
And
That's
so
correct.
her question was, wonderful, when they're done, are you going to, is somebody going to come in and do the roads and make the roads shiny and nice and blacktoppy and with reflectors and lane markers? You're making a funny face there, Heidi.
I don't want to overpromise. I need to find out. I'll ask the chief engineer.
Yeah.
What the who will come in, and I am assuming they will come in and have a different contractor fix the road and put it back or make it even better than it was.
Even better than it was
Yeah, that's
before
the
would be
goal,
good.
right?
Okay.
So I'll work on that.
All right, now I'm gonna leave you there for a second, and you just stick around until
Yeah.
it gets to be 8 o'clock, so I
I
can
can
give you
stay.
the binder, because this is a conversation I wanted to have yesterday with the amazing Pilar Laguatnia from the Guam Visitors Bureau. She's on the line right now, and good morning, Pilar. How are you?
Buenas.
Buenas, Pilar.
So the reason why I called you yesterday was I had some bad news about G.I. Joe, Coconut Joe, Joe Bennick, that had passed away, and I'd read the story from his hometown newspaper, and your name was all over that story, and some nice things about him and his trips to Guam, and the donation of the coconut to the World War II Museum, and so I wanted to get you on the air to gather your thoughts and talk about your relationship with G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, my.
He was a really good friend. And, gosh, it's really sad to lose a war hero, any hero, right?
Mm-hmm.
But G.I. Joe was very special. He really loved Guam. And he would always come for our liberation activities. And he's made many friends here. But what's so amazing about him is when he was a soldier and he left Guam back home, he actually returned back to Guam with his wife, and they were both teachers. And he retired from his teaching career, went back home, and he continued to return to Guam. And this coconut that he always brought symbolized the people of Guam. When he was a soldier, he wanted to send his mom a postcard, and of course during the war there was no place to purchase a postcard, so he has coconut, and then he took some pictures out of a magazine and glued them on the coconut to make it look like an island postcard and sent it to his mom. And years later his mom asked him if he wanted it back because she kept it. And he treasured that coconut and always brought it back when he came for liberation. And he, on his last visit here, he asked if I could care for the coconut and one day find a permanent home for it. Last year, I had the coconut given to the Guam Museum, and I was so excited to see if they could showcase it to share it with the people of Guam. And it was shown during Liberation Week.
Mm-hmm.
I am holding the coconut until the museum has a permanent storage facility for artifacts, but it was really a really beautiful tribute to not only Joe Bennick, but also the people, and Coconut Joe was proudly displayed for all to see.
It sounded like your relationship with him was more than just something that we did at Liberation Time. It sounds like, it was one of these people that is almost a confidant, a friend, if you will.
Yeah. People don't write too many letters these days, but he was my best pen pal.
Oh, when was the last time that you'd heard from him?
Just a few months before he passed on. And he loved to write letters. He had a weak heart, so I saw how his health was deteriorating with his writing, but that didn't stop him from just keeping in contact with Guam. And Guam Visitors Bureau does a really awesome job in keeping connected to veterans from the World War II. We communicate with them during the holidays, during Veterans Day, Liberation. Whether they come or not, we prepare packets of what took place on Guam because they would like to share and understand the celebration. They would like to see newspaper clippings. So we prepare all of that and we send it back to them. And it's really, really moving to see that these individuals who spent their young years here in Guam to liberate Guam still had that close connection with us.
And I can hear in your voice the nature of that connection. Truly the greatest generation.
You have a great heart, Laura. You really do.
Thanks. I appreciate you sharing that with us this morning. And if you are in communication with their family, please send love and prayers from Guam.
Okay, all right. There's a video that we produced that preserves their testimonies and their visits to Guam, and it's available on YouTube called The Liberators of Guam.
I'll be on the lookout for it. Find the link and I'll share it on our site. So, no, thank you very much. And again, I appreciate you sharing the very personal moment with us. The radio station is KUSG, Hagutnya. We are The Point. Fox News Live is next.
The investigation's already going on. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Misconduct accusations against the FBI already being looked at by a prosecutor. That's just been revealed by Attorney General Jeff Sessions. Fox's Jared Halpern has more live in D.C.
Attorney General Jeff Sessions is not ready to appoint a second special counsel, despite calls to do so from key congressional Republicans. In a letter to Republican lawmakers demanding answers on FBI and Justice Department conduct in 2016, Sessions revealed a U.S. attorney in Utah, John Huber, is already looking into questions that have been raised about surveillance court requests and the investigation of Hillary Clinton's private email server. When Huber's review is finished, Sessions writes he will get recommendations about whether any matters merit the appointment of a special counsel. Lisa.
Jared, Under Armour says the data for about 150 million users of its MyFitnessPal website and app has been affected by a breach. Credit card info and social security numbers not been affected because the company does not collect that information. Usernames and passwords are. Under Armour recommends changing your password. As the protests over his killing continue, a funeral service held today for Stephon Clark, the unarmed African-American man shot to death at his grandmother's backyard in Sacramento. Fox's Colonel Scott has more live.
Lisa, Stephon Clark's family sang, cried, and spoke out against his death at today's funeral. Family attorney Benjamin Crump says while the community is angry, relatives say a peaceful statement can be made against police action.
They chose violence to stop the existence of Stephon Clark in this life. Therefore, we must choose nonviolence.
The family has gotten support from the NBA Sacramento Kings and the Black Lives Matter movement. The state attorney general is investigating, Lisa.
Thanks, Granal. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Ready to buy real estate on Guam? Congratulations! But what now? There's so many questions, so many things to do. Where do you start? The best place to start is to call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty, Guam's biggest name in real estate. They aren't the best because they're the biggest. They're the biggest because they're the best. Trust the name. Find out why. Call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty today. 888-2121. Trust the best.
Triple J says yes. Zero down? Yes. 1.9% financing? Yes. Easy trade-in? Yes. No payments for 90 days? Yes. We'll have you saying yes, too, to these amazing deals. Like our big boy truck, the Ford F-150 at only $217 per paycheck. Or the top safety pick Mazda CX-5 Sport at only $194 per paycheck. Or turn heads in the Mazda 3 Sport or the sleek and sophisticated Kia Soul. Both for only $129 per paycheck. Visit us online at triplejguam.com. Some conditions apply. See dealer for details. Triple J, customers first.
President Trump will not have to be deposed in a porn star's lawsuit against him, at least for now.
A day after Stormy Daniels' attorney Michael Avenatti demanded that the president submit to a deposition, a federal judge has rejected that request for now. Judge S. James Otero, in his ruling, said Avenatti's motion for an expedited trial was premature and must be denied because it was filed before an anticipated filing by President Trump and his personal lawyer in the case. Avenatti said he would refile the motion at the appropriate time. The president and his personal lawyer are expected to soon file a motion of their own, seeking to send the dispute over a non-disclosure agreement to a private arbitrator instead of a judge. At the White House, John Decker, Fox News.
Courts ended for the day in the sexual assault retrial of Bill Cosby. Jury selection set to resume tomorrow. As the debate grows over gun safety, a new study finds more schools are using armed security.
The National Center for Education Statistics says armed officers were present at least once a week in 43% of all public schools during the 2015-16 school year, compared with 31% of schools a decade before.
Every student, every teacher, every parent should feel absolutely safe.
Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker signing a $100 million school safety bill into law that includes security officers. Other states have or are taking similar steps. Unarmed resource officers, quick action in last week's school shooting in Maryland neutralized the suspect. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
An Iowa man threatened by city officials with legal action for saying on a website his hometown smelled like rancid dog food has won a free speech lawsuit. A judge approved a permanent injunction prohibiting threats from officials from the city of Sibley, and the city must pay him $6,500 in damages and $20,000 in legal fees. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
Wendy's welcomes the new Smoky Mushroom Bacon Cheeseburger, featuring smoky, sautéed portobello mushrooms, melted Asiago cheese, crispy applewood smoked bacon, and crunchy fried onions atop a juicy beef patty. For those craving the same great taste, Wendy's Smoky Mushroom Bacon Potato is also loaded with sautéed portobello mushrooms, cheddar cheese sauce, and crispy applewood smoked bacon. Here, for a limited time, get a delicious Smoky Mushroom Bacon Cheeseburger and Smoky Mushroom Bacon Potato today. Wendy's. Now that's better.
Relax, enjoy, and be greeted by the spectacular view of Hagåtña Bay when you visit the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam. Gaze into the beautiful sunset as you unwind to the music of Philip Garcia and Natasha on Wednesdays, Mama Shar and Nina on Thursdays, Philip Garcia and Louise Munia on Fridays, and Jack Larimer on Saturdays. Open daily from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Happy hour from 5 to 8 p.m. with all cocktail drinks for $7. Receive a discount when you present your SPG card. Call Peter Yaban at 646-2222 for reservations at the Point at the Sheraton Laguna Guam Resort.
It's super, stupendous, it's sensational. It's a sensational seafood menu at Ruby Tuesday with satisfying selections of appetizers like lobster mac, crispy flatbreads, Italian cheese dip, and stuffed shrimp. Try them all and enjoy the selection of sensational seafood for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
GPSI Guam is a professional services company that is a registered contractor for the federal government. They're an SBA, 8A, and Hub Zone certified SDVOSB, providing program/project management, administration, technical support, logistics, and commodities. Find out more about GPSI and how they can help you today. For large prime companies, contact GPSI if you need assistance in meeting your small business subcontracting goals at 477-3058. They'll be happy to assist.
Did you know over 80% of all vision impairments can be prevented or cured?
Naval Academy and Johns Hopkins University graduate Dr. Peter Lombard has performed thousands of sight-saving procedures in Guam since 2010. He specializes in cataract surgery and can treat your diabetic eye disease, glaucoma, and much more. From simple vision exams to complex surgery, Lombard Health proudly accepts all insurance. Call today to book an appointment at 989-4747. Guam's best eye care. One patient at a time.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Good Friday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Airman First Class Bradley Hale has been identified as the service member who died in an apparent stabbing Tuesday morning at Andersen Air Force Base. Andersen leadership confirming the airman's name yesterday. Hale was 20 years old. He enlisted in the Air Force in 2016. He is originally from Montgomery, Texas. He was temporarily assigned to Andersen from Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana, which is the home base for the B-52s. In a statement, Andersen 36 Wing Commander Brigadier General Douglas Cox said that this is a very difficult loss. Our focus is on supporting the families, the affected community, and the unit. A suspect is in custody but hasn't been charged yet. His name has not been released. The Air Force's Office of Special Investigations has confirmed that the medical examiner from Kadena Air Force Base in Okinawa is expected to conduct an autopsy later today at U.S. Naval Hospital, Guam. In other news, ready or not, the temporary increase in the business privilege tax set to take effect April 1st, provided no last-minute snag is found in the revised fiscal realignment plan submitted Wednesday by Governor Calvo. The business privilege tax will increase 1 percentage point from 4 to 5% this Easter Sunday. Revenue Tax Director John Camacho telling the Guam Daily Post yesterday that they're ready. The revised tax forms showing the new BPT rate should be available on the Revenue Tax website by this evening, he said. He called it a minor adjustment to the current BPT tax form and pointed out that the forms can be filed online as well. The increased BPT rate expected to bring in about $5 million a month, said Camacho, raising a total of $30 million before it expires on September 30th and a new 2% sales tax goes into effect. We'll have more news after this.
Come out for the 4th annual Chucky Run and Fun 5K, 2K, and Flyaway giveaway. Join us Saturday, April 14th at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam. Show at 5:30 and go at 6 a.m. T-shirts, medals, and other cool prizes, refreshments, and indoor activities after the races. Grand prize drawing for all participants is a trip package for 2 to Manila. Register at Chuck E. Cheese's Guam. $8 for students, $12 for adults, and group of 4 Super Saver for just $35. The 4th annual Chuck E. Run and Fun 5K, 2K, and Flyaway giveaway. See you there.
Howdy, my name is James Moylan, and I'm running for a seat as your senator. The people of Guam expect more from their leaders, and I intend on delivering. If given the opportunity, I will bring my experiences in the military, public, and private sectors. I understand that during challenging times, tough decisions and an open mind are needed. Your tax dollars also need to be spent wisely. If you expect more from your elected officials and expect them to think outside of the box, then I humbly ask for your support this November. Thank you.
Paid for by the committee to elect James Camacho Moylan for Senator, Carlos Camacho, Treasurer.
News time here at The Point is now 11 minutes past 8 a.m. The Guam Police Department announcing that the Agana Precinct Command will reopen this evening at 6 p.m. The precinct was shut down earlier this month and its officers transferred to the Department of Corrections in an effort to help reduce overtime amongst prison guards at the DOC facility in Manila. Police Chief Joseph Cruz announced yesterday that 19 officers will now be reassigned back to the Agana Precinct Command for patrol operations. The chief said 18 other officers will remain at DOC in a continuing effort to help out the Department of Corrections with its personnel shortage and overtime problems. An audit of the Guam Department of Agriculture has found faults with the agency's use of federal funds. The audit conducted by the Interior Department's Office of Inspector General, it covered the use of $7.2 million in U.S. Fish and Wildlife grants from October 2014 through September of 2016. Among the findings in the audit, of the 31 grants totaling $7.2 million, the Department of Agriculture used only $4.4 million. The department failed to submit most of the required federal financial reports within 90 days, and the auditors found a damaged grant-funded vehicle that had not been reported, vehicles that were used for personal errands, and vehicles driven without proper documentation of their use. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray with some weather.
It's going to rain. That's what's in the weather forecast today. Considerable cloudiness, scattered showers, and isolated thunderstorms moving into the area. Southeast winds to about 20 miles an hour, shifting to the south, diminishing 5 to 15 miles an hour tonight. Highs around 87 degrees and overnight lows 77 degrees. For the weekend, including Sunday, partly sunny days, partly cloudy nights. Isolated showers, south winds up to about 15 miles an hour. Overnight lows expected to be about 76 degrees, but warm during the day, about 88 degrees. And just another reminder here, moms and dads, we don't know what the weather is going to be like on Easter Sunday morning. And I know that you've got plans to be hospitable to the Easter Bunny, but that's hospitality might need to have a plan B for an indoor hunt, if you know what I mean, mom and dad. So that's news and weather together on The Point.
When the power goes out on Guam, the little things can become surprisingly big. Small comforts are often the things we miss most during a power outage. That is why Kohler built the fastest responding generator sets in the industry. Whether you are at home or away, a residential Kohler generator will enable you and your family to live life without interruption. Kohler gas, LPG, and diesel power systems are available from Morrico Equipment, LLC on Epal Road. Call 649-1946. That's 649-1946.
And portions of the program brought to you by my friends over at Wendy's and the bacon mushroom cheeseburger Asiago. Am I getting all the words in there? Am I getting all the ingredients in there? Smoky bacon mushroom cheeseburger.
Yeah.
Okay, so
with the Asiago cheese.
Asiago cheese. There's a and it's got this smoky sauce that's on it. And frankly, just ask for the sauce by itself.
Put that on French fries.
Yes, exactly. Take it with you to other restaurants because it's that good, ladies and gentlemen. So that's the new big deal. And if you're one of those people that says, "Well, I don't eat meat," you know what? They can do the same thing for it because bacon is technically vegetable. You can have that on a baked potato.
It's candy.
If it makes you feel better and say, okay, well, I'm not going to eat it on a cheeseburger. You can have all of the fixings that I'm talking about on a baked potato. You need to find out more about this, and you have to hurry because it's only good for a limited time, like right up until they run out of the sauce or they're out of Asiago or the mushroom, because the mushrooms need to be imported. We don't actually grow mushrooms here, and I think the ones that we do will kill you, and that's bad for business. So they bring in the ones that taste good and won't kill you, and there's a limited supply of those, so make sure that you get your hands around one of those burgers sometime soon.
We have those moments in our lives that happen unpredictably. The unexpected instances that we did not really need. Now you can count on us to stay well, Papa to live well, Papa to stay well, making sure you stay well. Oh, I'll lift you up when times are low. I'll see how far we'll go and stay well.
Stay Well Insurance. See how far we'll go.
Hey, if you're going to be buying a house here, I need you to make a phone call to Security Title. Why? Because they will help guide you through some of these things. I don't care how many real estate transactions you have been through. Sometimes they can be kind of complex and daunting, and there are doubtless going to be questions about the title and escrow and things like that. And these guys know all about that. Will make you feel a lot more comfortable about your purchase from Security Title.
Rain. It's nature's way of cleansing the earth. Yet by the time that rainwater makes its way to your home, it may not be exactly the same as nature created it. A Connecticut water treatment system can improve the quality of the water you and your family drink and use throughout your home, so you can be sure your water is clear, clean, and fresh, just as nature intended it to be. Connecticut, for refreshing ideas on water.
American Water Tech. Smarter water, better water. Call American Water Tech, 649-2301, or email info@americanwatertech.com.
The Ray Gibson Show. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Yeah, I like these patches. Are you starting to feel groovy there, Kevin?
I want to eat.
So Heidi comes into the studio and she's got these what is it? What she got? Eating suppression thing? Hunger suppression?
Yeah, hunger suppression or
Right.
appetite suppression.
Appetite
As
suppression
soon as
thing.
she said that, I was like, but maybe I don't.
But
want that.
they got the thing at Wendy's that Ray's talking about
Yeah,
here.
you know, I mean, come on.
Yeah. I don't want to cut that in half and eat. I want to eat the whole thing right now.
Besides, appetite suppression will not help me. If they have one for beer suppression, that might help. And they don't make
perish the
those.
thought.
Yeah, I know, right?
What's that for? What, did the judge make you do that?
I'm just getting my mood here.
Not here, kids. Not here. 8:16 in the morning, and guess what? It's time for Sports on the Point. I didn't spit when I said sports, did I? Sometimes I worry about that. Sometimes I don't swallow my peas. All right, Blake Watson now with a look at Good Friday morning sports.
Good morning. Good morning. I want to get to the local stuff first because I got some Friday fun. It's actually Friday, so I actually got Friday fun. Guam Zest Football Club.
Really? You're not starting with opening day Red Sox? Jim Walker listening online and watching the Red Sox at the same time?
Really?
Yeah,
No,
he's watching live in the States.
You know what? So the opening day for my team and Michael Knight's team as well. Houston taking on the Rangers. And funny Red Sox tie-in, because I don't know if you know this, in their second year as the Texas Rangers, Ted Williams in 1972 was the manager of the Texas Rangers. Yes, he was. And on ESPN in the broadcast, seventh inning stretch, they showed like a hitting instructional video, 30 seconds from 1972 of Ted Williams. Older Ted Williams dressed in a Rangers uniform and just showing like how to, like if the velocity of the ball is coming in this way. And anyway, just interesting.
I'm sure the attention was 150% on Ted Williams as he.
Well, if you're a
described
Rangers fan, it was.
He was the only man to hit 400.
You know, they say about Ted Williams. They say that he could read the text on a record as it spun around a record player. Yeah, they said he could read the. I mean, maybe it's an urban legend. I don't know.
And there's another thing people don't know about Texas Williams. He was Hispanic.
Yeah,
he was half Hispanic.
Half.
Okay, but he could read the writing. Or
his eyes were so good, meaning like he could slow things down with his eye. They said that's how good. That's why he was such a good hitter, is that he could see something coming at him or see something and he'd slow it down so that he could actually decipher it or read it or whatever.
I think certain strains of marijuana do the same thing. Just kind of slow time for you.
Yeah, like the Matrix.
Makes the program go that much longer so you can enjoy every single solitary second of it. I heard from a friend.
Right.
So, okay, now local sports.
Local sports real quick. Zest Football Club came out on top this week, winning the championship game. They were over in Saipan for the 2018 Spring Break Friendlies against Saipan's Kanoa Football Club. And they're a brand new club, is Zest Football Club. It's helmed by Jonah Romero, former Mattel member. And the scheduled 2 days of friendly matches became 3 days. And then Zest ended up taking the championship. So
I always thought it was funny they called them friendly matches, because I got to tell you, man, anytime I took the field against somebody, there was nothing friendly about it.
Oh, you're right. And so my favorite, I love opening day. Now, my team has no direction. We have no, we're not going to rebuild, and we're opening up a new stadium, so we got to sell out suites. So we have no, so for the average Spare fan like me, my team, whatever, doesn't matter. So I turn my
I've
attention.
been through several of those years.
I know. I turn my attention this is my favorite time of year, not because opening day, Ray, but because of this right here, and I have a list. The 2018 Best New Major League Ballpark Food is out. I've got it all from around the league. Now,
this requires music.
All right. I've got a few.
Mike?
One of the most polarizing menu items, according to...
not that music.
That's perfect, man. We're talking about ballpark food.
Why do we not have the theme to Benny Hill?
The only thing I have that's close is this one.
There you go. So, and this, according to SI, Sports Illustrated, so it's unbiased, but it does say that one of the most polarizing menu items that has been unveiled, the Dilly Dog by the Texas Rangers. That is you'll like this. If you like Pickle Rick, you'll like this. It is a pickle hollowed out, then they put a beef frank in it, and then they dress it up with, mustard, ketchup, obviously not relish because it's made out of a pickle, but it's basically a hot dog with the pickle as the bun.
Turn up the laptop. See if the laptop is playing Benny Hill theme.
Big pickle.
The Dilly Dog. Arizona Diamondbacks rolling out the
No, that's what I had last night. That was my snack last night.
The dill pickle?
Yeah. Dill pickle, I got one of those Clausen dill pickles, a big one.
The ones that snap?
Yes, like that, and with some Tabasco sauce.
Oh, it's so good.
Right? Just sat there and just, I was out there in the world. I got the breeze in my face. I got a cold beer over here, and I got a pickle.
There you go. That's so good. I like that, too. The curd and Q, this rolled out by the Diamondbacks, sounds phenomenal. It's a 1/3 pound burger, coleslaw, barbecue pulled pork, and white cheddar cheese curds on a toasted Kaiser roll.
Take those matches off.
Right? Over in L.A., now this is interesting for one reason. Over in L.A., because it's L.A., you can build your own tortas.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You get to choose between carne asada, cactus, for all you vegan vegetarians, pulled pork, and then you get refried beans, jalapeno cilantro, crema, and pickled onions all on a bread roll. Now, that's all right. That sounds interesting. You like? Would you eat cactus?
Cactus, just that? No, it tastes not good.
It tastes like, you ever had the aloe vera drink?
Yeah.
Cactus kind of a little bit like that, with a more of a Southwest, like a more of a dirty taste.
I wouldn't eat it by itself.
Doesn't it hurt going down?
No, you take the pokey parts off. But the way in my head, the way I eat it is I'd put some kind of barbecue sauce on it.
Yeah.
Like with the pulled pork thing.
Yeah, just like with the pulled
That's
pork
exactly
thing.
how I do that.
The New York Yankees are running out the Bear Burger, which is Bear Burger at Yankee Stadium is bison, pepper jack, pickled jalapenos, pico de gallo, habanero mayo, all on a brioche bun.
Did you say bison?
Yeah.
Bison. I had a bison burger when I was. I had lunch with a guy that we bought a whole lot of equipment from, and so I spent $500,000 on equipment with this guy, and he took me out for lunch at a place where they made bison burgers.
Yeah, you ate buffalo.
Yeah.
So my other half
tasted like regular hamburger.
Tastes nothing like chicken.
My mother, my other half's mother has a very thick accent, and she also has bass privileges. And so she asked me to make a list, and I was like, "Oh, they sell bison on base." So I wrote down on my list bison, which prompted her to call me when she was at the store to ask me. She goes, "Blake, what is this bison?"
Bison.
Blake, what is this bison you have?
If you go from the bison and you go to the fresh fish, and they might have some tataga. What? Tataga? What's that?
Bison.
Oh, you mean tataga? Okay, so you got anything else?
Oh, yeah, I got this last one. It's called Tater Kegs. Solid option, in my opinion, because I like fried potatoes. Jumbo tater tots topped with sour cream, cheddar cheese, bacon bits, and scallions all together. And the reason it's called a keg, because they stack it for you on a skewer.
Man, that sounds
perfect.
Looks delicious.
Yep, and that is, I believe that is being rolled out also by the Yankees. Yeah.
This is the kind of cultural exchange that we're missing, not being a state in the United States. We need to become the 51st state. We get our own kick-butt baseball team. We get stadiums, and Bank of America going to sponsor everything, and then we'd have these great culinary adventures. The closest thing that we get to that is Okay, nothing. There's nothing that gets anywhere close to that. I'm trying to think of like when we go to the movies. There's not. There's hot dogs. There's popcorns. There's candy. There's
Nachos.
all of the usual fare. But I want to be able to, like, when you go to the movies in different parts of the world, where hey, you go to Japan and there's let's have a squid.
Right.
That's,
yeah.
Different snacks,
teppanyaki.
different things. Yeah, different things. Okonomiyaki, takoyaki. You can have all of that stuff in there. And I'm just saying, we need to be able to expand our horizons on these and events like this. Frankly, I think one of the great combinations of things that we can do if we want to revolutionize everything is we'll do movies and food trucks.
Yeah.
Right? Wouldn't that be cool?
Don't they do what would be good ideas? Maybe the food trucks. I don't know. Maybe they do this, but show up to the movies in the park.
I'm
right?
sure they do that for the movies in the park. I'm sure there's the vendors that are out there, but I want to be able to, like, the new Star Wars movie and truck food.
Yeah.
Would be awesome.
We need a drive-in, Ray.
And Mosas. You could bring.
I've maintained that for 10 years since I moved here. We need a drive-through.
Let's just do drive-in. Let's just do movies at Mosas.
Okay.
We'll just empty out the dining hall and put out chairs, and we'll just stick movies, and we'll just show bootleg stuff, right?
I hope Mo and Sarah are listening. Listen, ladies, we got to do this.
You need to do this. All of the millennials will keep going.
Yes.
They'll love it. They'll stay longer. They'll drink more of the fancy beer.
I'm one of them.
Right?
Self-proclaimed millennial that will stay
They just
longer.
won't drive there in a Standard.
Some of us know. Some of us can. the older one of us can.
Sacred knowledge on how to drive stick shift. 8:26 in the morning. So what are you going to do for the rest of it? Because you're not doing the radio show. What are you going to do?
Well, I had a whole big like barbecue Easter egg hunt planned for the beach. I was going to bring the fam with me on the trip, and then just use this time traveling thing to go just straight down to the beach. But it's been raining. It's been overcast. Yeah. So now I don't know. Maybe I was listening as I was walking in. Maybe an indoor hunt.
Right.
I'm actually holding his beer for him right now. So.
Yeah, I can't.
Well, just
came in with a half an empty. You know what's crazy? I got you something.
Oh,
yeah.
Is it an appetite suppression thing that you put in your arms?
I didn't bring it.
Oh.
Yeah, but don't worry, I'll have it for you. Well, you know what the thing is I got into a brawl with my bulldog on my way out the door.
Oh,
she chewed up a dirty diaper. Right at the door.
Still trying to figure out what the upside is for me. So what do you got? Do I get the diaper?
So I allowed myself extra time to get a coffee.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
To get coffee because I haven't had mine yet, and I was also going to stop at the gas station because I was on empty 2 days ago. So yeah. So I had the time. Well, having to deal with the bulldog brawl that I had to deal with and putting her outside and all that, I didn't have time. I left your present in the front seat of my truck. And I brought my other half's car today, so that's why I didn't have. I had it, but I don't have it.
Monday will be an interesting show, I think.
You know what though? It will be here Monday.
Dirty diaper bite.
And I was so happy. And I'll tell you a little secret about this. I'll pull back the curtain a little bit. I saw this. I want to say a month ago. Mm-hmm. I went back a week later to get it. Gone. It was gone.
Don't you know when you're on Guam and you see something that you even remotely half like, you buy it because you're going to change your mind like you did and you're going to go back and it's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then eventually, yesterday I left. When I left yesterday, I just happened to have to go to the place where this thing was, and I was like, oh.
They have another one.
They have one, and they restocked it. All right, I'll take this. All right. So I got it for you.
All right.
Pick you one up. You will enjoy it.
I'll just stay here. I'll just stay here and patiently wait until Monday morning. I'll just sit here and look at my WhatsApp and just not go anywhere until that comes in. Now this is a legitimate sports question that I need to ask you. I feel compelled to ask because I'm getting different stories here on what happened with Sports Bingo. It used to be GNOC Sports Bingo, and they were working with that group out of Australia. Somebody called in this morning and said, no, that's the Guam Football Association, as in soccer, that are now affiliated with the Sports Bingo thing. And then I said, okay, well, that makes sense. And then somebody said the names that were mentioned aren't the right names. Find Dave Tidinko instead. And I'm going, huh? Okay, the one from the Valley of the Lati. And so I'm curious. What do you know about this? When did that happen?
That's actually news to me. Last I heard it was, it was
still
GFA. GNOC is what I'm saying. But I heard, I think I had read in GSPN that funds were being questioned or something was happening with GNOC to where somebody was being, finally something was, questions were being asked, I guess. But I don't know if I never heard about if they lost it or if.
Well, it sounds like they did. Yeah, it sounds like it went to another group.
Well, it looks like their 5-year contract ended in 2016, just to rejog my memory from something that I had in my. Yeah. So, but other than that's the last. What you just told me was news,
up for grabs, and so we've got a new player in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so the next question is, are the ticket locations still the same? Are the ticket prices the same? The prize is the same?
I'm seeing here that as of
you look at your thing. I'm going to look at my thing. Sports Bingo Guam.
I have it here. Well, it's it's one of those things where. Yeah, I don't know. The byline is giving me my search results are giving me something different. But yeah, it looks like
buy them at Payless. It
looks like it was Community Corp announces GFA first mega bingo recipients February 11th, 2017. Now that is just a search result. When I click on the post, it just takes me to a list of.
There's current results.
That's what it says. Here, I can send this to you
the Saturday Mega Bingo, the numbers are 10, 19, 23, 30, 33, 39, 17, and 34. Then there's the Thursday Powerball and a Super Tuesday Mega Bingo. And I think all of these have transpired already. So if you're not a winner, then you got to get new Powerball and Saturday Mega Bingo and Tuesday Super Mega Bingo cards out somewhere else. And the big headline that I was looking for was, when was the last time we had any kind of winner around here? Because it seems to me that we did. We had a $300,000 winner in May of 2014. 2017 was the last time I think somebody got their hands on it. Might be some new information on GSPN. We'll see what we can find out.
Yeah, it looks like I've got something from, it looks like they made news, GFA did, having the bingo in February 2017. And then if I follow a timeline, which is the best I can do right now, Richard Lai pled guilty and 2 months later. So I don't know if that had something to do with it. I don't know if it got lost in the shuffle or I don't know if it was a one-off thing. But when I search what I've had on the history of it, it stops at the GNOC losing the 5-year contract.
Okay, well, that's what happens when I'm not on the air when things happen like this, and when we're talking about getting rid of cool games over at the carnival. You have a fantastic Easter weekend.
I will.
Enjoy the baby time. It's always important to take lots and lots of pictures, and they will remember all of those things. That's my buddy Blake Watson. He takes care of sports. On the way back, headlines with Kevin Kerrigan.
$7 meal from Circle K. Get your choice of 2 Nathan's all-beef hot dogs or a half-pound Nathan's all-beef footlong, a big wrap bag of chips, and any size Polar Pop. That's a giant deal of a meal, all for only $7. Circle K. Take it easy.
That's nice. Am I supposed to do something here? Okay, because I was just talking about something that we might be able to get ourselves into and into our mouths on Monday. But if you're hungry now, King's Restaurant, ladies and gentlemen, King's is where you need to go, because that's where you are going to find all of your favorites. Breakfast time. You want fried chicken for breakfast? They can do that for you. You want to go in there at dinner time and have breakfast? They'll do that for you as well. It's all about your favorites and your family. Always open, always local. That's King's. Now, time for headlines from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 33 minutes past 8 a.m. In the headlines from the Guam Daily Post this morning, personal financial records of 154 students at the University of Guam have been compromised. The data breach includes the students' social security numbers and how much in student loans or Pell Scholarship grants they received. The university issuing a statement yesterday saying that an unnamed employee at UOG's Financial and Aid Office inadvertently sent an email March 27th containing what's supposed to be private information on the students to 196 unauthorized recipients. Jonas Makapinlak, Director of Integrated Marketing Communications at UOG, said it was not malicious, and this is the first time it's ever happened. He said they're taking steps now to make sure it never happens again. Makapinlak said that UOG immediately enacted fraud prevention protocols and began an investigation. The unintended recipients of the email have been contacted and asked to delete it. The students whose information was compromised have also been contacted, and UOG will provide them with free credit monitoring services for 12 months. An audit of the Guam Department of Agriculture has found faults with the agency's use of federal funds. The audit was conducted by the Interior Department's Office of Inspector General. It covered the use of $7.2 million in U.S. Fish and Wildlife grants from October 2014 through September 2016. Among the findings, of the 31 grants received by the Department of Agriculture, totaling $7.2 million, the department used only $4.4 million of the funds available. The department failed also to submit most of the required federal financial reports within the required 90 days. And the auditors found a damaged grant-funded vehicle that hadn't been reported, vehicles that were used for personal errands, and vehicles driven without proper documentation of their use. Vietnam veterans and supporters rallied outside the office of Delegate Madeline Bordallo in Agana yesterday to demonstrate their support for a bill intended to broaden Agent Orange exposure coverage to Guam, as well as spread awareness of the toxic chemicals' potential impact on the island. Among the demonstrators was 67-year-old John Kidache, who said he used to help load bombs and transport them to Anderson in the late 60s. He said he witnessed individuals spraying a defoliant on base. He believes it was Agent Orange. The demonstration happened outside Bordallo's office because of that bill in the Congress, H.R. 809, which proposes to grant presumptive Agent Orange exposure status to service members who served on Guam, the CNMI, or American Samoa during the Vietnam War era. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
Will do. 8:36 is iConnect time. Connect longer for less with iConnect's push-to-talk mobile and internet plans.
Hey, it's your stomach again. Subway has all new signature wraps, and around the water cooler, the other stomachs can't stop talking about them. Chipotle Southwest steak and cheese, turkey, bacon, and guac, rotisserie-style chicken Caesar signature wraps. Listen, if I'm honest, as a talking stomach, I don't have a lot of life experience. But I do know one thing. These signature wraps are jam-packed with meat. So what are you waiting for? I'm growling over here. Subway. Make it what you want.
Yeah, buddy. Hey, Ray Gibson Show Until It's Not Going to Be Anymore, brought to you by our friends at First Hawaiian Bank. Now, before I say it all starts with yes, this important announcement. First Hawaiian Bank is open for business today. Need to go in there, put some money in an account, take some money out of an account, get another account. They're going to be there and able to take care of you at any of their locations here on Guam. First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
$7 meal from Circle K. Get your choice of 2 Nathan's all-beef hot dogs or a half-pound Nathan's all-beef footlong, a big wrap bag of chips, and any size Polar Pop. That's a giant deal of a meal, all for only $7. Circle K. Take it easy.
We have some really great home loan programs, but did you know we have great business loans too? Every day we're working with companies to purchase equipment, to buy or build properties, or make tenant improvements. We offer letters of credit, working capital, and term loans, and we make all of our credit decisions here. Commercial loans, commercial banking from Bank Pacific.
Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Equal housing lender, member FDIC. BIBA Bank Pacific.
The stations of Choice Broadcasting are celebrating April 2018 as National Earth Month in the first ever Upcycle Mascot Showdown. We've invited the public elementary 5th grade classes to set the example and build their school mascots completely out of recyclable material. Come down to the Chamorro Village Festival Huts on April 21st from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. for a full day of fun. Support your school's mascot and be sure to vote for your favorite. Judges pick the first place winner. The public votes for the second place winner. Celebrate Earth Month with our students in the Upcycle Mascot Showdown. Brought to you by Leo Palace Resort Guam, Dr. Yang Dental, Denny's of Guam, and The Point.
No, I just put the gizmo away. There's no traffic. I don't even know what you're. The last thing I checked was to see if there was still anything going on down south, over at the on Route 2 over by the SETI Overlook, of people doing that. And my guess is for the most part it's just about done, because I'm not seeing a lot of build up there. There are some cars there more than usual, moving slower than usual, but other than that, there's nothing major to worry about, except for the rains. Here's the deal: weather patterns right now are suggesting rains for today, maybe even into the weekend, some thunderstorms. And the truth of the matter is, it's been a while since we've had rain like this. You've forgotten how to drive in the rain. Serious. I have too. So take a couple extra steps, take a couple extra minutes, leave earlier for where you have to go. A lot of people are going to be on the road for the Easter weekend, and let's stay out of trouble. Less traffic here on The Point.
In illness and in wellness, Calvo's Select Care is healthcare that is there for you. That's why over 80% of the Guam medical community places their trust and insures with us. We offer our members wellness and fitness programs for a healthier lifestyle and provide a comprehensive medical network on and off island to help members from unexpected illnesses. Contact Calvo's Select Care today for more information.
Chili's has the seafood you crave, the flavors you love, at a great price with our 3 for Me Lent menu. For just $15, you can get a beverage, fresh salad, and a Lent-friendly entree. First, choose from a refreshing Coca-Cola, iced tea, or Heineken on draft. Then enjoy a fresh house salad right before you indulge in your choice of a mouth-watering entree, like our spicy shrimp tacos, savory Cajun pasta with shrimp, or our flavorful grilled ancho salmon. Chili's 3 for Me Lent menu for just $15. Available for a limited time. Chili's, more life happens here.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you. Kevin Kerrigan found a story about the Guam Liberators here for the 70th anniversary, including Navajo Code Talkers, but right there at the front of it, and I've got it queued up, you can see it on the screen if you're watching on Facebook Live, that's Joe Bennick. He's the fellow that passed away yesterday, or we got word that he had passed away, and I read you that story. And in the last hour of the program, the last few minutes of the hour, had Pilar Liguanya from the Guam Visitors Bureau on talking about her, and that was a choker. I've conducted many interviews and many emotional talks on the radio, but that one you could feel the connection that Pilar had with G.I. Joe. And so the link is up. I stuck the link up on the Facebook stream. So if you want to watch the thing in its entirety, you're more than welcome to. I'm going to hit play on this thing so it can go while I'm talking about a bunch of other things in the next go round in the hour here. What is it? Good Friday, 8:41, less than 90 minutes left in the program. And in the next hour, I got some guys coming in who are going to talk about the Marine Relocation Program. Maybe you've heard about it, the military buildup and all of that, and the Cantonment Project. And so what I wanted to do here today, and what they wanted to do as well, was talk about some of the environmental initiatives and things that they're going to be doing to maintain the natural resources and the cultural resources, access to the refuge, the economic and community benefits of this relocation program. And there's obviously a bunch of slides and everything, but we can go through this bullet point by bullet point. But every time I sit down with these guys and learn a little bit more about what they're doing, specifically around the firing range area, where there's a lot of concern about what's going to be happening with the environment, with the flora and the fauna that is up in that area, and so I get a little bit concerned and say, well, gee, what does this mean for the plants that are up there? And they've got some pretty interesting ideas about what it is that they're going to be doing with them, relocation of some of these species to make sure that and over the long term, that the species of plants, et cetera, are going to be better for the fact that there's a firing range up there. You might be going, well, are you sure about that, Ray? Well, tell you what, give them the benefit of the doubt. They'll be in the studio in just a little bit. There are a couple of other stories that I'm interested in, and one in particular, I'd call your attention to a story written by my friend Patrick Lujan that appears in this morning's Daily Post. And it's a story about a dear friend of mine, Marissa Peroy, who had just come back. She'd run the Nagoya Women's Marathon. And this was a big deal, and between her and Doris and all of the other girls that had been out training for this marathon. So we were training in the opposite direction. We were thinking about, I was going to Okinawa. These guys were going to Nagoya for their marathon. So we'd often see each other, and our paths would cross largely up at the flea market, which has recently become a jumping-off spot for a lot of runners that are in training and using long runs up in the north and in the central part of the island. And you might be wondering, well, gee, why are they doing it up there? And the short answer on that is because at the end, you can go to the flea market and get taho.
Oh, see. That makes it all better.
Yes. You can get vegetables too, and all of the things. Whatever. You can get a cheeseburger at 5 o'clock in the morning at the flea market. So you got that going for you there, and so as I said, we'd cross each other's paths. So she comes back and develops some problems up in her head, and as it turns out, there's actually something in there, brain tumor. Reading just. Only know about it what is written in this article, but it's a powerful woman with a powerful faith and a powerful support network. So urge you to read up on this. Anybody that's strapped on a pair of running shoes on Guam in the last 10 years or so knows exactly who I'm talking about. There's going to be, it says at the end of this, a fundraiser that they're going to be doing at Cowboy Ninja, 6 until 10, April the 8th. And there's going to be lots and lots of people that are going to be a part of that. And I hope that that you clear off a spot on your calendar. A friend of ours, another mutual friend that lives off island, running buddy off island, wants to know if there's going to be a GoFundMe. And I don't know, but I'll see what I can find out. I think that's, as I said, very powerful story. And if you're looking for some place to send some Easter prayers for Marissa, certainly, and for her husband and the kids and all of the friends that are digging up some extra strength to support her through this trial that she's on. 8:46 in the morning, and then there's another piece of news, and I don't know that it is anywhere but in Facebook, but I got a note yesterday from Dr. Tom Shea. And anybody that follows Tom, I think Tom has got as many people following him on Facebook as I do. And so we were all delighted with a piece of news that he shared with us yesterday. And thanks very much for sharing. I hope you got Beverly's permission before, but we were all nuts about Beverly getting married, found a nice guy. Kevin is his name. And I think the only conflict is he's not a Green Bay Packer fan. Is that right? And so I wanted to take an opportunity to say congratulations to Becky and Kevin on the news that your father is spreading around that he is going to be a grandfather. How about that? How about that? I think that is absolutely terrific. So congratulations to you, Tom, Dr. Tom, and to the entire family, expecting a new arrival soon. And I'm curious, what's the protocol on that? You can't be her doctor, can you? You're not going to be the OBGYN. You're going to let Andy Berdalio handle that, right? We'll see if we can hook up with him before too much longer and see what he's got to say about that. And there are a few other things in the table of contents today that I thought I'd share with you just for fun. The Agania precinct is reopening. Woohoo! How about that? After being shut down for, 3 weeks, going on 4. I guess whatever the problems were that needed to get solved have been resolved, and we no longer have to worry so much about the guys at the Department of Corrections, because they had that sweep, the corrections sweep, like supermarket sweep, where you go in and toss everybody's belongings and see what you can find. Cell phones. This is not the first time they've done it. I think this is the most elaborate move that they have made on this in a little bit. But it seems to me that the last time they did this, I remember, because I kept it, I was so amused by it, that among the contraband items that they found, cell phones, because cell phones are very bad in prison. Apparently, you're not allowed to have those things. I guess the theory behind that is that if you've got a cell phone in prison, it would allow you to continue to manage your criminal underground while you are behind bars. It'll still be like Gotti or whatever, still be able to command your minions to do your bidding regardless of which side of the bars that you're on. Or maybe it's they just don't want you ordering pizza. I don't know why specifically it's a contraband issue, but hey, it is. And so they found a whole bunch of those. But betel nut. So I guess you're not allowed to chew betel nut if you're in prison. See, there's another reason to stay on the straight and narrow. There, in and of itself, is another reason to stay on the straight and narrow path here is don't get in trouble, don't rob a bank, don't get in trouble with the law, because you'll go to prison at the Department of Corrections, and if you survive the first couple of nights, then the problem is that there's a very good chance that they won't let you have betel nut anymore. Again, why is that a contraband? Oh, he does want to talk about it. When is he going to call back? Because like I said, I got those guys coming in at 9, so we might need to make a hole for it. Okay, we'll see what we can come up with. 8:48 in the morning, Dave Tenenko says he's going to give me a ring back in just a little bit so we can continue the conversation on the sports bingo that is going on, that has apparently recently changed hands. And I'd sure love to be able to get a whole lot more by way of answers on all of that. And that conversation stemmed from another conversation that I was having about the lottery. There's a big lottery going on in the States, $504 million in this mega bucks lottery that's taking place out there. And, you can make just a whole lot of money with those things. I guess if you manage them correctly, if you market them correctly, and the funds generally with these big statewide lotteries will go to support things that are always in chronic need of some kind of financial support. In our case, we could stand up a lottery, and the lottery would benefit education. We'd stand up a lottery. The lottery would benefit health care in the form of Guam Memorial Hospital, and which is okay. Now, the line that I got from Kevin, when Kevin was like, "Oh, but it's gambling. It's hated gambling here on Guam." Well, I don't. It's not a casino, for heaven's sakes. What's the worst thing? It's, we always worry about the casinos. We always worry about all of this other nonsense going on. We got parents leaving their kids in the car in the middle of the night while they're prostituting themselves so that they can put some more money in the one-armed bandit. You cannot do that with a lottery. I'm sorry, it doesn't happen. Lottery is one of those things that takes the incremental $2 or $3 that you might have from breaking a $10 bill. At the end of the day, you're going to buy gas and you get your cigarettes and your Slim Jims and your Mountain Dew, and you say, "Hey, can I get a lottery ticket?" And you can spend as much or as little as you want to on it. I've never heard of anybody that, and maybe I'll look it up. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll look it up to see if there's any glaring cases out there of lottery gaming addicts, people that, oh my God, they absolutely positively, they blew the mortgage getting lottery tickets because they wanted to get it. I'm sure there's one or two of those cases that exist, but I'm sure it's not widespread like we'd see with other gambling addictions. So in my mind, it's one of those things that the usual parade of do-gooders we might be able to convince them to look the other way on something like that. I got an email on that yesterday. It was talking about casinos turning the Guam International Airport into a casino, and they might want to actually do something along those lines. And I'll tell you why. So you look at the numbers coming out of the Guam International Airport, and it's not a bad audit as they'd go. I got to see what they were able to come away with in the last year or two of audits that they've had from the OPA. But the numbers aren't awful. They got big payer in the form of Lotte, who doesn't matter whether there is one person that goes through the airport or 5 million people that go through the airport. The answer is they still have to pay Chuck and everybody over there. They still have to give them $15 million in rent, no matter what. And apparently there was a number of lobbyists that came forward and put the kibosh on gambling over at the carnival. My emailer says, blame the lobbyists, Luli and Jackie and Ken and Daryl and Jay. Really? I just don't remember all of the flap. I'm sorry. It was just one of those things. I was looking at something else, unfortunately. But the idea of putting a casino up at the airport, in my mind, doesn't sound like it's going to be all that bad. We don't have to deal with, like I said, somebody's got a gambling problem, an addiction issue. They're on the next plane out anyway. It's okay. A little over a year ago, my friend writes, there was a bill to allow an exemption to the multi-pack prohibition on cigarette sales for outbound passengers at the airport. Current law prohibits discounts for multi-pack carton sales. The bill was defeated. And he says, I remember nannies saying during the hearing that cigarettes and guns are the only things that will kill you if used as instructed. However, this bill, if enacted, could have generated large taxable profits for cigarette companies. Japan's inbound packs can bring up to 5 cartons duty-free. This backward liberal thinking is likely what caused us to lose visitors from Japan. When the legislature directly micromanages the GVB marketing budget and cuts funding for Japan and increases funding for Korea, it gets what it pays for. They should increase funding for both and cut out Duck, Duck, Goose and Liberation Fishing Derbies instead. Nanny mentality that will kill the airport or any other form of gambling on Guam. Yeah, well, I'm sorry I took that break. Maybe if I hadn't, we wouldn't be having this conversation. 8:54 in the morning, and we are in the midst of this tax crisis. Later on, if I have some time, I'll play a piece of audio. Conversation that Kevin Kerrigan had with John Camacho, basically asking if we're basically ready for the implementation, basically, of the new. I'm sorry, I'm talking like John Camacho. If we are ready to have that all put together over at the Department of Revenue and Taxation, he says, yeah, I think he's got all of the things that they need to do on their side. We are going to do. If you are a retailer in this town, you need to pass that along. Otherwise, you're going to have to eat it. And be gentle on us, on your customers, because it ain't nobody's fault here. But you got to be gentle with us. Round it up to the nearest nickel if you can, the nearest dime if you can. And I think smart shoppers will remember that you didn't use this as an opportunity to gouge the customer base that you have. Now, I know. You're going to say, yeah, but I get a lot of tourists, and they've got money. Yeah, but then you're going to make Guam a more expensive destination, and they'll go to someplace else. And there's a lot more someplace else's these days. The story that I wanted to, and I don't know if I've got enough time to highlight it, but as I said, we've got our own issues with the Trump tax cuts and what they mean to us. And it is interesting to watch what has happened now with Republicans that are calling for tax hikes and Democrats that are fighting tax hikes. And I was wondering how they're handling this in other places. Now, we've got a very unique relationship with the federal government in that we don't have our own local taxes. We've got federal taxes that revert instantaneously back to us. But there are other places where they've indexed their taxes, where they've linked their state taxes to the federal taxes, because you've got state and local taxes, right? So the state taxes are linked in some way to the federal taxes. They're using that as the gauge. One goes up, theirs goes up. Some go down, theirs goes down. So where's this? Missouri? Yeah. Some Republicans raise red flags over efforts to cut tax rates. They're doing the same thing there. The Republicans in Missouri are actually doing what they're doing here, saying, whoa, wait a second. Let's not talk about tax cuts. We need to talk about increasing certain taxes around here. Republican lawmakers and the governor have been pushing for state-level tax cuts, mirroring those that were approved in Congress and signed by President Donald Trump. But with GOP leaders warning about the long-term effects of reducing streams of revenue flowing into already tight state coffers, it was unclear whether any of the plans would move forward. So these are the same guys. I love this, boy, and anybody, the Never Trumpers out there are going to think the same thing. Is while they're talking about this as a Washington issue and as a congressional issue, and you're going, go Trump, go Republicans, yeah, buddy, tax cuts. When it finally comes down to affecting and impacting your state, you're going, whoa, time out. No, that was good for everybody else, not necessarily us. And of course, the Democrats are down there, all taking advantage of it and looking for an opportunity to begin to take some cuts, oddly, out of their own tax streams. And the Republicans are throwing hissy fits all over the place. And so it's interesting that, number one, we are not the only ones that are in this bind. It is interesting, number two, that we are seeing the same kind of almost policy shifts between, what back in the old days we would call tax and spend Democrats and the fiscally conservative Republican side. Now it looks like it's all changed. B.J. Cruz is now the biggest fiscal conservative I've ever seen, and his bat boy, Mike St. Nicholas, right behind him. That's it, Captain Coconut and what was the other guy? Banana Boy. That's those two over there over at the legislature, and they're the ones that are carrying the fiscal torch. Hey, listen, the music's playing in the background, and that means that we got to break away for Fox News. We run that live every hour. There's no tape delay around here, and you can tell because we start the news at beep the top of the hour. So I want you to be listening for that. On the other side, Kevin Kerrigan with news from the Guam Daily Post. You wish. He's done for the day. He's gone out to his real-life job. After that, we'll spend some time with a couple of buddies of mine, and we're going to be talking about relocating Marines. Cantonment is going to be the word of the hour. And we'll get the phone lines open for you if you want. 888-8255. Stand by now for Fox News Live.
Request rejected. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. An investigation into bias at the Justice Department and the FBI will not get a special prosecutor, but more action is possible later on.
What the Attorney General is really saying is he may not need a second special counsel just yet to find out whether FBI and Justice Department officials during the Obama years broke laws when they engaged in FISA abuse to spy on the Trump campaign, because he already has a criminal prosecutor all over it. Sessions revealing for the first time he already has been quietly having U.S. Attorney John Huber of Utah, operating, of course, outside of the Beltway, using his prosecutorial powers with a broad mandate to investigate misconduct that could extend beyond FISA abuse.
Fox's Ed Henry in Washington. The outgoing VA secretary speaking out about his time in office and his ouster. Fox's Steve Rappaport has this live.
Lisa, Dr. David Shulkin has no ill will toward President Trump and says he agrees with the president's criticism of the VA.
This is a organization that needs to change. It needs to do better at its job, and we all want to do it faster and better because it's so important to the country.
Shulkin on Fox's special report with Brett Baer clarifying his remarks about privatizing the department.
What I said in my editorial is that there are a number of political appointees within VA that are pushing to privatize much faster than I think is in the interest of veterans.
The president nominating White House physician Ronnie Jackson to succeed Shulkin. Lisa?
Steve, experts say investigators should be able to figure out how fast an SUV was going when it plunged off a cliff in California yesterday. An engineer says the GMC Yukon had a black box that records accident data. A Los Angeles judge ordering Starbucks and other coffee companies to put a warning label on coffee products sold in California. A nonprofit had sued coffee roasters, distributors, and retailers under a state law that requires warnings on a wide range of chemicals that cause cancer. Fox News, fair and balanced.
With the pending implementation of a new sales tax, the team of Gutierrez Bordallo is greatly concerned for the people of Guam. The collection of this tax means $160 million a year will come from our already suffering working class and will negatively impact the cost of living for our island families. If given the opportunity, our team would immediately look at restructuring the government to reduce from the top and prioritize critical services. We need a streamlined plan. We need leadership. We need Gutierrez Bordallo.
I'm Carl Gutierrez, and I approve this message.
For more than 40 years, we've managed our island's most precious resource, your health. Take Care's benefit plans allow members access to more than 120 medical providers, 40 dental providers, and 18 pharmacies in the region. Take Care's health plans ensure members in Palau, Saipan, and Guam receive the care they deserve. Our programs and wellness classes have proven results for our valued members, and our commitment to your health never been stronger. Take Care, our island, your health plan.
President Trump in Ohio earlier today talking up his infrastructure plan.
The president, surrounded by blue collars and hard hats in Ridgefield, pitched his $1.5 trillion infrastructure plan to rebuild America's crumbling roads and bridges.
It can be passed in one bill or in a series of measures. What matters is that we get the job done.
The bulk of the plan relies on state and local governments and the private sector that, according to the Council of Economic Advisors, would create hundreds of thousands of jobs, though a plan that even the president admits Congress likely won't touch ahead of the midterms. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
The jury in the North Salmon trial done for the day without reaching a verdict. The widow of the Pulse nightclub shooter is accused of aiding her husband. He was an MLB veteran turned philanthropist. Rusty Staub has died.
Staub would play for 5 different teams, but was most noted for his time in New York and with the then Montreal Expos, nicknamed La Grande Orange for the color of his hair. His number 10 still retired by the team now known as the Washington Nationals. Staub, a 6-time All-Star, the only player to have 500 hits with 4 different teams, one of only 4 players to have hit home runs in MLB before turning 20 years old and after turning 40. After baseball, he would serve in the broadcast booth for the Mets, owned 2 restaurants in New York, and established 2 charities, the Rusty Staub Foundation, which provided educational scholarships, and the New York Police and Fire Widows and Children's Benefit Fund, which supported the families of emergency personnel killed in the line of duty, becoming a vital organization after the September 11th terror attacks. Rusty Staub passed away Thursday after a lengthy hospitalization. He was 73 years old. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
Lindsay Lohan apparently not able to convince a New York State judge that Take-Two Entertainment is using her likeness in the video game Grand Theft Auto 5. Lohan's lawyer had argued the game maker violated her right to privacy, but the court ruled the images are not identifiable as Lohan. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
As we journey through the new year, we here at APL continue to find ways to better deliver our island's resources with innovative and cost-effective solutions, lending our helping hands by carrying your freight safely from the U.S. mainland or anywhere in our global network. We humbly honor the opportunities to continue to work and connect with you and your business. We are APL, and we are here for you. Portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by King's Restaurant for 40 years, serving favorites to families like yours and, in fact, your actual family. Always open, always local. That's King's.
At Micronesia Renewable Energy, values matter. So all of their solar energy systems come with guarantees and the most value. No shortcuts, all quality. It's giving you that solar energy system at the best price. It's using highly efficient solar panels with typhoon-proven racking, built by highly skilled local technicians, so your system performs and saves you money. It's total peace of mind all the time. Not all solar companies are created equal. For experienced quality solar, it's MRE. Call 632-2613. MRE, the smarter choice.
The Ray Gibson Show, your new News Talk headquarters.
So I got the music playing, and we're in the midst of a continuation of a conversation that we originally started on the telephone here, and got a couple of people in the studio. We've got I wanted to say Professor Ronnie Rogers, but he said no, that's not. I'm not quite.
Can we
here.
just go with that?
I like that though. I mean,
It rolls
you
off
look
the
like
tongue.
you could be a professor. You look like with the Marianne Gilligan and all of that.
That works.
It works? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to call you the professor. Well, you're the chief archaeologist. Are you now the boss archaeologist, right?
Well, we have several archaeologists out here with
I need a wired
the
diagram.
region.
Tim Patrick, do I have a wired diagram?
I can simplify this.
Yeah.
This is the highest ranking archaeologist that I work with. How about that?
Okay.
How
All
about
right, it's good enough. Now the reason why is that we've got the cantonment, and we are moving through all of this, and for the perspective of people that are watching, you're going, yeah, well, when? Because Guam still looks the same as it did yesterday, and you're talking about all of these things that are seem so far down the road. But frankly, we just had a groundbreaking for another 4 lanes up on Route 3 through there.
Well, technically 5 if you count the middle suicide lane, but certainly, a big project, $44 million widening Route 3. In the end, we really expect that to streamline some of that traffic, and
that's a build-up project.
Absolutely, it's a DAR project, Defense Access Roads project. So money comes from the federal government in support of projects like the build-up on Guam, because it's supposed to do two things. Number one, ease any tensions that the military would create in the civilian infrastructure. And number two, create the roads strong enough so that if you had to transport military vehicles, it wouldn't cause any problems.
Right. And so they're building that thing up. My only problem with it is apparently there's already an intersection there, and there's already a bunch of control lights, signal lights up there. And when I talked to Glenn Leon Guerrero about it last week, he said they were adding 2 more. And I said, no. This needs to be a net negative if we can, and neutral. So if we're adding street lights and signalization somewhere, that means we have to take some away from somewhere else. And I told him which ones. I said, the one over at Happy Mart, we don't need that. We'll just take that thing down. It works for the 25 people in the buses that go to the school in the back. Otherwise, it's kind of pointless most of the rest of the day. It leads into what was the Old Navy Golf Course. I say Old Navy Golf Course because there's no golf course there anymore. The Navy discovered, hey, golf is for Air Force guys. And so they're not doing that anymore. And they literally pulled up the greens. They pulled the grass off the ground, and that is turned almost back into entirely pig country now. Feral pigs that go back there, and so we don't need a street light for that. The other one is right behind the Academy of Our Lady of Guam, and we could get this all done. Couple of Marines and a 6-pack or 2, and we could have this thing done before the procession this afternoon.
Well, just let me know. As long as we get past the waivers and permits, we're all right.
Well, and my God, that's the thing. That's the thing. We were talking about in the telephone call. We were talking about a number of things, and based on the agreements and based on federal law, all of the steps that the military has to conduct, the federal government has to conduct before we turn any more shovels of dirt anywhere for any other purpose.
Right. It really is a process. I was talking to the USO yesterday, and one of the things we were talking about was Look, we haven't built a base since the late 40s, so 70 plus years. And a lot has changed between construction then and now. And most of what's changed is your regulatory compliance.
Yeah.
And on one hand, sure, it's laborious, it takes a long time, it's lots of money, but, it's all for good reasons. It's all for the right reasons. So the big part, so much work of building a base is about fitting into the community as best you can. Minimal impact on the ecosystem, minimal impact on cultural resources, minimal impact on socioeconomic.
And I hope it didn't distract you. The reason why I'm looking in the back pages of the newspaper is not to check up on whether or not they found that little white Maltese dog. They did, but I wanted. There's an ad back there, and one of the things that they're advertising for, along with construction management and inspectors and things like that, is a documentation control and admin manager, because so much of what we're talking about these days requires some degree, probably an incredible degree of paperwork.
Absolutely, yeah.
And somebody needs to be the custodian of records and make sure, hey, if we've got a federal ticket, that we've got all of the documentation required to be able to fly over the radar on these things, and make sure that we meet all of the agreements and and the rules and the stipulations, which is one of the reasons why we've got an archaeologist in here. And so we were talking about, to go all the way back to the beginning of this conversation on the phone when Tim and I were talking about setting this thing up. We were talking about digging a hole for a flagpole.
Oh, yes.
And even if you dig in a hole for a flagpole, somebody has got to get brought in to clear it, to do the archaeology and fill in all the paperwork and make sure that it's groovy. And then I said, and then it will last 1,000 years, because across from the mall up in Dedido, there is what looks like my buddy is going to be putting together a container mall. You've seen it. There's a bunch of containers that are strewn about in this yard. And when they cleared that yard off, I looked at the thing because I run by there frequently, and it occurred to me that they didn't need to do any surface preparation on the area. It was all already flat. There was already a bunch of places where there were foundations about the size, Professor, of an old Quonset hut, the kind that we used to have back in the day. And about in what would be the middle of all of this is a flagpole pedestal. Now, the flagpole is gone and lost to history, but I have been on less of a part-time quest, but every time I run into somebody that is older than about 70, I ask them if they know what was there before, because it was probably some kind of military installation. But even you guys with your records, you weren't able to find anything, huh?
Not yet. What's interesting about that, though, is there's usually something. So I travel to Tinian quite a bit, and when we go up there in the north,
I love going up to Tinian.
And when we go in the North Field, of course, there's ruins
whole thing
of
is history.
Old hospitals. Yeah, anywhere you walk. Well, kind of like here too. But where you walk there, we always seem to know, like, this is the foundation to what this building used to be. This used to be an infirmary. This was a hospital. This was a brig. And we know what's been happening to those buildings all the years. But I'm really surprised that I don't have.
Can't find anything from up here. Well, maybe next time you're up there, ask Don Farrell.
Yeah.
Because Don, the guy's a repository of all of this information. I'm sure he's been very helpful up there. You remind me, the last time I was up on Tinian, we did a big confab, big get-together of people whose... And it wasn't what they did for a living. It was kind of a hobby, a avocation for them. And all of these guys were nuts about the Manhattan Project. From jump all the way to the end, and Abel and Baker and all of this stuff. And I had a chance to sit down and meet with people. And it's amazing, considering the top secret nature of what was going on up there. It is amazing how much actual film footage survived, and how many pictures there are of the place. Now, obviously, after they dropped bombs, we were still sending a whole bunch of planes from there out to the home islands of Japan to conduct the bombing. So there was other military activities that were going on. But as you point out, they're able to look and say, okay, you see the way this here is configured in a circle, because that was the circle at the entrance to the base, and that's where they had flower pots and all of those kinds of things. They just go, wow, this is what a crazy bunch of history that we've got around here. And let me jump over and talk with the professor Ronnie Rogers. Want to make sure I get that right. And so in your archaeological research up on I assume where we're doing the cantonment.
Right, the kind of the plateau of the area.
Okay, what are you finding up there? What's interesting?
It's all interesting. The area has been disturbed, like Major Patrick said, back before there were laws and regulations, and there was a war going on. There was a lot of things got moved around. What we're finding, though, is confirming what a lot of previous research had thought, that the population up there was pretty much along the coast in the big villages. The plateau, there's no water up there. There's very little water up there. We did find a few areas where they have relatively deeper soil that might have been suitable for growing some food or maybe medicinal plants, whatever. That seems to be where most of the activities were located. And we have a couple of small, I wouldn't call them villages. They were probably not permanently inhabited. 2 or 3 houses, maybe not lived in at the same time over a period of centuries.
Sound like almost camping.
Well, it was
Would
camping.
it have been seasonal use or something?
Probably seasonal, because even where we don't have summer and winter, we still have seasons where the plants produce their fruit. So we find that those areas, there was concentrated use of those areas, if not living there year round.
And this is pre-contact?
Yes.
Okay.
And what we find is a scatter of a lot of smaller sites out there where somebody was probably there just for a short time, getting whatever that resource is that was in season at the time. And we recognize those. We'll have a scatter of ceramics or artifacts on the surface, not much, just enough to see that it's there. And in several cases we had where they had cooked a meal. And to do that, they would dig out a shallow pit and make essentially an earth oven with stones and things. And you recognize those because the soil is much darker, because it has the carbon in it from whatever they were fueling their fire with. Plus, you have a lot of the little limestone rocks that are like fist size that they would put in there to hold the heat and cook. And you find those on the surface where they clean it out. And they would clean it out. If they used it several times, they would clean it out and build up a deposit that you can see. A lot of those had been cut, truncated by disturbance, but still our archaeologists were able to get a lot of information out of them about subsistence and when the people were there and what they were cooking.
Okay, so to my untrained eye, I'd say that this all happened about the same time. It'd be but as with the archaeological view that you have, and maybe just analyzing the depth of the soil, are you able to see this happening over a number of decades or a number of centuries?
Centuries.
Can you tell that this was the older of these gumas that we're talking about?
They have some dates on the sites. The late pre-Laddie, they had a site further north that had some material there that they could date to a later, earlier time. But most of what's up there is Laddie period, middle to late Laddie.
Now, I know from having spent some time working at people's houses and doing yard work from time to time that there is about that much dirt on top of some really, really hard surface rock underneath. Are you finding any burial grounds up there?
We have not found any burials in our project.
Because you can't dig a hole in it.
No, you can't.
You'd be really skinny.
There were some other surveys up at Anderson where they did encounter, but they're a couple of burials, but they are actually 3, but they're not in our project area, so they won't be impacted by these projects.
So describe your projects areas for the listeners. We're all familiar with. I think we're familiar with where the primary cantonment is going to be, but a lot of people, when we start thinking about that area up there, are thinking about where the firing range is going to go.
Oh yeah, so totally different location.
I see.
I know I always carry around my placards, just they're kind of my security.
Sure.
But and I know it won't be much benefit to anybody. But let me show you.
There's people that can see it on the. You'll just have to be very, very descriptive of where it is that we're going, and be mindful of where the camera shot is going.
Yeah,
to be.
I don't know if this would be helpful, but I'm looking.
Not even
it doesn't look like it'd be helpful at all. But this kind of gives you an idea. It's Finnegan. So right here, this is just for your benefit. This is where NCTS starts right here. And remember we talked about the elephant cage last time?
Yeah.
So this area right here is the elephant cage, right in the middle of where a quad would be. And that kind of shows you the size.
It's helping a little bit, but it's in an area that I almost never go to. You're so far deep in my mind away from what I'd normally see driving up and down on Route 3.
So I think what will kind of bring it up is if you're driving through Route 3, your normal access to NCTS, everything that you'll see being developed will primarily be on your left-hand side.
Okay.
All the way up till you get to Potts Junction.
Right.
And that'll be, right now actually, we started working some surface scraping along the perimeter area. And as part of the project that was awarded back in August, we just now started doing some surface scraping. You know, we wanted to make sure we got everything, you know, where it needed to be as far as the biological opinion.
Yeah.
But so when you're driving up Route 3 to the north or going to Anderson, you should start to see some development on your left.
But even the heavy development, it doesn't look like it's going to be all that visible from the roadway.
It won't be so much. Now, what you'll see is you'll start to see some...
Well, no, there's something big back there, but it...
Right. So you'll see when everything really gets underway, you'll see some entry gates, that kind of thing. Most of the stuff will be a little bit further in. And some of that's by design, you know, as of course we do have the net negative that we're working to comply with, and everything's already on the DOD regulated areas.
Right.
But on top of that, you want to reduce the impact as much as possible. And part of that is your visuals, your visuals as well. So, you know, there may be a curtain of trees between the road and the base.
No, keeps the noise down, keeps the dust down, all of that. We'll go over some of the paperwork that was in. I got a PowerPoint, and there's some very interesting things in there, some very interesting ratios that I wanted to get to. But I want to go back to the professor, Ronnie, and ask you a couple of other questions about, you know, some of the things that we're talking about and these kind of finds that you have up there. What are you doing with the artifacts? What you know, somebody is working on a piece of land, and it's got some interesting things that you found in the ground. What happens with that?
Okay, the sites that will be impacted that are significant sites that meet certain criteria for being eligible to the National Register or being significant. They're interchangeable. Those sites, according to the 2011 PA, they will be data recovered by excavation. So excavation is typically, data recovery is typically sampling. You're not going to get everything. What you get and what the mitigation plan, the data recovery plan, says that they will collect information significant to characterize the site. In most cases, the really small sites
have been sampled already.
Well, everything was disturbed, but we were able to get good information, and we also got some artifacts.
I think.
But my understanding is the same thing happens on this side of the fence as well. And I can think of a couple of large developments that took place and in areas that are a lot richer in cultural artifacts and significance, and they were able to get by with quote unquote sampling. So we dig a couple of holes, see what we find. If we find something that we recognize, then we'll catalog it and then put it back together, and then we make our reports. There's the data, and then you move forward with whatever it is that you were going to be doing.
Okay.
Well,
similar process.
Similar process. You know, everybody's you know, needs to adhere to the federal regulations, and that's actually something we're proud of, because in many cases, not only do we meet the federal standards, but we also exceed the federal standards. And I think this programmatic agreement really goes a long way in showing just how far, you know, the parties, how much we can get done when we're working together on these projects.
Well, give me a couple of examples. So we were talking about flora and fauna and some of the things that we know are going to be impacted, and you guys are physically moving plants. You're taking seeds. And I mean, I had not even heard about this until you told me.
Oh, well, gosh, I mean, it's on the natural resources side. There's volumes and volumes of work, just like there are on the cultural resources side. one of the favorite things I like to talk about is something we call forest enhancement.
Forest enhancement.
Right. It kind of rolls off the tongue for me, but what it is basically, for every acre that we develop, we're committed to enhancing another acre. Now, the word enhancement means, for these projects, it's the effort to bring the forest back to its, as much as possible, its natural and endemic state as you can. So a lot of, as you're aware of, a lot of Guam's natural ecosystem is under attack by invasive plant and animal species, amongst other things. And so the part with enhancing, a previously, disturbed area would mean, like the pigs, you have to get some of those invasive species out. Like, so you'd have to remove the ungulates,
Yes.
the wild deer and wild pig. While you're removing the invasive species, then you also have to plant and put in the endemic species, the native species. And then you've got to monitor the whole thing while it's going. And it might include physical barriers like fences that we need, hiring, dozens of different natural resource monitors. But the project is, every acre you develop, then you have to enhance another acre to put that back to its natural state.
Is that a 1-to-1 ratio?
That's a 1-to-1 ratio.
What's the 4-to-1?
So the 4-to-1 ratio is what people typically think of, and that's forest preservation.
Yeah.
That's simply putting aside, every acre you develop, you put aside 4 acres where you don't touch. And so, per the agreement, that means that when it's put to the side, it can't be developed for military use, for civilian use.
It's always going to be forest. There will always be boonies there.
Yeah, exactly. And, that's particularly helpful when we try to create some habitats for the Guam Micronesia kingfisher, for example. So for that bird...
I've only ever seen them in Saipan.
Well, and I think the only ones that exist, the Guam ones, are in captivity. But we are part of a big plan right now, $2 million a year for up to 10 years, and possibly more after that, depending on how the program's going, to create habitats near Haputo for that kingfisher. And part of that, of course, is you have to have forest enhancement. If you don't get rid of the invasive species, then the native species can't compete.
But there's just so many mice with aspirin in them to take care of the snakes.
Yeah, that's part of it.
What's the snake eradication? What are the numbers on that? I mean, I know that's not necessarily in your lane, and certainly predates any conversation about the marine buildup here on Guam. But we're talking about the same kind of property, and if we're going to be taking kingfishers up there, we got to make sure that the little eggs aren't eaten by the snake.
Right. Well, I heard an interesting statistic the other day. Out of the snakes that we've been capturing lately, they found that 65% of those snakes had eggs in their bellies. Now, that didn't sound great to me when I first heard it, but what that does tell us is that there has been an increase in bird population. Now, are we...
that's an interesting way to look at it.
Are we just feeding the snakes more now? But no, I don't think that's the case, but the biologists tell me that there has been an increase in bird population. We do see an increase in the number of eggs in these snakes' bellies, still... us and Anderson, we're still looking at good ways with the USDA to, how to tackle these. We do have an interesting... place up on Northwest Field, where they have a place where they've been experimenting on how to best capture and eradicate the brown tree snakes. And of course, we've heard the stories about the mice, but there's also this thing called bait optimization, which I think is pretty interesting. And more than anything, it's just a much cheaper, faster, efficient way to get that acetaminophen, which is harmless to humans in these doses, a better way to get the acetaminophen in the snakes. And what they're looking at doing is taking like a spam-like substance, infusing it with a scent, I guess, that smells like this smells like mice, and then distributing that way. And it costs, many times less.
And you don't have to. Will it still be airdropped with little parachutes and all of that?
It will still be airdropped, among other ways. Other ways to do it. That's a fast way to do it. But I mean, when you talk about the amount of money that's involved, it'll come with everything that's associated with the buildup. Then this is a step forward for us, to really start tackling that.
How many guys are working on projects like this associated with the military buildup here on Guam that we don't hear about because we're thinking in terms of construction companies and the 1 or 2 Marines that we've got here? How many guys like the Professor Ronnie and his team?
Well, what I can tell you, that's a good question. I actually had that number in my head. Until I remember the actual number, let me tell you this.
Yeah.
I can tell you that the Department of Navy and the DOD on the island, they are the largest employers of natural resource kind of people, biologists, that sort of thing. And the same on the archaeologists, cultural resources guys.
So these are all the people that I see at Moses all the time, right, that I don't recognize?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I always wonder where these guys come from. They don't look like teachers. They're not in the military.
Right.
So and they all kind of look like they just came off a college campus somewhere. So is it possible that these are the same guys that we're talking about?
Yeah, it sounds about right, especially since it's Moses. Everybody, from college likes coffee, but we get a lot from them. But there's also a lot of collaboration with the University of Guam as well. Our interns all come from University of Guam, and then we've also got a number of employees that went there, interned with us, and then turn over. They enjoy the job. They believe in what they do. And so I think...
Well, see if we can dig up that number, because that is interesting to me, that there's already kind of a little build going on and already people here with jobs that are doing some of this preliminary work that needs to get done. But getting back to some of the archaeological stuff, because I am kind of interested in what happened up there. There are places above the cliff line, and then there are places below the cliff line, and some great culturally and historically rich areas through there. And in particular, there's a piece of property that was returned by the federal government as part of the Net Positive, which is Hilaan. And I think in today's Daily Post there's a story about a hike that you can do through there to see some of the pools. And so I'm curious, because I know that Hilaan was lived in for a long time, and then all of a sudden everybody moved out. Do you have any idea why that happened?
I don't. I haven't studied that. It's not in our area. But chances are when the Spanish were relocating everybody from the northern villages in the late 1600s, early 1700s, it probably...
we just pulled them all in and said, okay, you live down in town with us. Because I thought it might be vampires or something.
Yeah, well, maybe that too.
It could be.
But you asked me earlier about what happens to the artifacts.
Yeah.
Well, we have an agreement with the National Park Service based on 2 or 3 studies we did early in this project to evaluate our collections, Joint Region collections, and get them back to Guam. Some were in Hawaii at the time. And then we also brought the collections up to federal standards as far as packaging and the boxes and the database that goes with it, so we know where everything is and researchers can access it. There was no place on Guam that met the federal standards as a curation facility at the time. So the artifacts are in the process of going to the National Park Service, because down in the visitor center down next to the Navy Gate, they have a facility there, very small. It was an old firing range, indoor pistol range, and that's where the curation facility is. Now, we crammed as much as we can by putting in the compressed shelving, that instead of having an aisle between every row, you just need one aisle, and you move the shelf and put the aisle where you want it.
Sure.
That is, we're still have some things to go in there, but I would say most of our collection is in there now, where it's meets the federal standards. Now, when we get a repository, then for Guam,
which you're building,
that meets the standards, that Fed's paid for, then we'll be able to transfer the collections into there.
But it's still not something where I'd be able to go to and walk through the aisles and open drawers and see what's inside. Not quite museum yet, yeah?
No, I think that's was supposed to be written in as part of it, because, in line with the programmatic agreement, everything you do is also supposed to preserve the culture so that people can have access to it. So it'll be it's planned right now to be located at University of Guam. And so, although I don't have the details, I don't know if the details are made.
I know guys up there, so I'll be able to. It's probably the same as being able to go and take a look at some of the things in Mark. You might need to go sign off on something. I don't know that they're going to be doing school kid tours of the place, and perhaps at some point we'll be able to take the certain items out there and put them on display in the actual museum in Agagna. But we'll down that particular road. I guess the point of the question was that you are finding things of cultural and historical and archaeological significance, and you are taking them and protecting them.
That's correct.
Okay, that's the most important
we're
thing.
following. There are laws and regulations that we're very careful to follow and document.
But actually, even before we get to the standards of the laws and the regulations, there is still this is something that needs to be done with this because it's culturally important. So let's take it here and make sure that it's protected and preserved.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I mean, all of the rules and regulations, it's just gravy, if you ask me. And you got me thinking. You were talking about the location. I know that there's been significant archaeological work done down at Sumai for so many different reasons, and there's other professors, other doctors, other archaeologists that have put the last 10 years of their lives into some of that. Are the things that you're bringing down from the north in about the same place as some of the things that they were finding down in Sumai? That you're aware of?
I don't understand the question.
Well, the question is, I know that they've been finding some stuff down in Sumai, so I'm wondering if all of those are being commingled and protected in the same location. So you
yes,
mentioned you've got a spot.
all of the joint region, both Air Force and Navy, and now Marine Corps will be in the same facility.
Interesting. Okay.
That's why the repository is so important because you can't go throughout Guam. I mean, it's got such an amazing archaeological record. I mean. You're always going to find something.
There's the other question I wanted to ask you. Yeah, I see. I'll take the break. I just wanted to get this question out of the way because you know how I am. I'll forget. I'll bring it up after the break and then I'll forget it. So the question is, while you're out there traipsing around in the boondocks, and as you say, there has been some disturbance on these pre-contact sites, largely because of some of what has occurred up there, up to and including the war.
Yes.
Are you finding wartime artifacts up there as well?
Not so much. Of course, we have people going out looking for the unexploded ordnance. I'm not sure how much they're finding.
If you're digging, you want to know.
Yeah. But we can't dig without them. That's the new reality. Most of the sites, we're finding some post-war scatters of things. Nothing really significant so far.
Yeah. All right. So, I was wondering because I know that I'm sure that there were some battles up there, some skirmishes up there, and some guys that were laying down waiting for battles and skirmishes up there. I'm wondering what the nature of some of the artifacts they might have left behind.
I think I've seen pictures of bottles, right? A lot of
bottle dumps where they have big camps up there.
Mm-hmm. You can always find a lot about
Japanese.
I think you can always find a lot about how people lived by looking at the dumps, dump sites.
Yeah,
and you find that I guess through Roman times, through Greek times, through modern times.
When we come back, and I will try to remember this, is kind of a distinction in elevation when we start talking about what's going to be happening up there, in particular with the firing range. There's a lot of people that that have this idea that a Marine is going to fire a gun and the bullet is going to go down the lane and it's going to hit the berm and it's going to go and kill a bird in the fish in the wildlife park that they've got down there. And there's a big difference between where one is and where the other is going to be. And we'll talk about that when we return. You're listening to The Ray Gibson Show. It's 22, away from 10 o'clock in the morning. Some time with Ronnie Rogers and Tim Parker from did I get that right again? Palmer.
No, I like Palmer. That's good. That's not a bad name. But I don't
have it written down in front of me.
I know. It's Major Tim Patrick.
Tim Patrick, Major. Seeing that's a better rank than I was going to give you, too.
Oh, good. Well.
Yeah, so we'll return here in just a moment. iConnect time in the studio, 9:39, and iConnect has got the big deal for you. They got Push to Talk that works in this town. This is going to help you stay connected for longer with your teams out in the boondocks like these guys.
Ready to buy real estate on Guam? Congratulations! But what now? There's so many questions, so many things to do. Where do you start? The best place to start is to call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty, Guam's biggest name in real estate. They aren't the best because they're the biggest. They're the biggest because they're the best. Trust the name. Find out why. Call Century 21 Commonwealth Realty today. 888-2121. Trust the best.
$7 meal from Circle K. Get your choice of 2 Nathan's all-beef hot dogs or a half-pound Nathan's all-beef footlong, a big wrap bag of chips, and any size Polar Pop. That's a giant deal of a meal, all for only $7. Circle K. Take it easy.
Water. It covers nearly 3/4 of our Earth, from vast oceans to millions of rivers and streams. We're all concerned with protecting our world's water, but none is more important than the water you and your family drink and use throughout your home. A Connecticut water treatment system can improve your water so that your family is using the best water in the world. Connecticut, for refreshing ideas on water.
American Water Tech. Smarter water. Better water. Call American Water Tech at 649-2301 or email info@americanwatertech.com.
Special things only come around once a year, and it's time for fish fans to celebrate the return of Wendy's Cod Filet Sandwich. Wendy's uses the gold standard for fried fish, wild-caught Northern Pacific cod, breaded with panko crumbs to a light crisp. Add a new creamy dill tartar sauce and crisp pickles, and you've got the fish sandwich many say is the best of the bunch. Get yours today at Wendy's, located in Tamuning, Veragata, Agana, Dededo, and Naval Base. Wendy's Cod Filet. Now that's better.
Yes, money is something we should talk about and plan for and use to make life better. It's how we make our giant leap from where we are to where we want to be. So let's talk together and work together to check off shiny new kitchens, fully nested dorm rooms, and bucket lists with more countries than our passports can hold. Let's check them all off together. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes. Member FDIC.
How long have you been on Guam? Major?
You got me now. I'm rounding out my 3rd year on the island.
And you don't do WhatsApp?
Well, I mean, I would like to do it, and I'm learning. I just haven't been very successful.
The island runs, the whole place runs on WhatsApp, and there's 2 kinds of WhatsApp. I'll explain it to you for the uninitiated that are unaware. WhatsApp is basically an app on your phone, and it will allow you to, you build up all of these the people in your contact list, and then they become, if they're running WhatsApp, then you can send them instantaneous text messages. You can send them pictures. You can send them audio. You can send them documents. You can send them your location. So when we were in Okinawa, when me and my friends were goofing off in Okinawa, we'd say, let's meet at this restaurant. Well, I don't know where the heck the restaurant is. So we jump in a cab, and sometimes the cab driver doesn't know. So we say, send us your location, and you can send them the pin on the WhatsApp, and then the driver will look at it and say, oh, I know where that is, and he can take you right to it. Or you can meet up with each other in the mall. So it's a lot of handy uses for this.
So I've been working with Map and Compass for a while, but that sounds pretty. That sounds pretty effective. What you got?
When the battery goes dead on your phone, then we can still find each other because you're a Marine. But the other thing about the WhatsApp is it's a great way, obviously, for you can do this with groups. You can do it individually. You can do it with groups. And what we have found is for every group on Guam, there is a side chat, and so everybody gets the entire government of Guam is on WhatsApp. But there are certain WhatsApp side chats where the real power is.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in the middle of a paid advertisement.
No, I'm sorry, you shouldn't be. I'm just saying. We were talking. I said, send me a WhatsApp of the graphics, and then I can put it up there. He's like, I don't know about WhatsApp. What about you, Professor? What's your tool of choice when you're on? Why aren't you sunburned?
I don't get out much.
You're the guy. You send people out in the field.
That's it.
Okay, so what are the instructions? I am your employee, right? I'm one of the guys that works for you, and I come to work, and it's Monday morning at 7 o'clock, and I go, okay, Professor, what are my instructions today? What are you telling the guys to do?
Well, you would already have your instructions in your contract.
Ah, I see.
That has already been reviewed and commented on, and there's a whole lot of consultation that goes on before anybody ever goes into the field.
Really? So there's nothing simple about this?
Nothing simple. We mentioned all the regs and things.
Yeah.
Our focus is on consultation, both with our PA partners, the signatories, the PA parties, with our Historic Preservation Office, with the public.
Well, you do quite a bit of work with the historic preservation,
everything,
right?
Before anybody goes in the field, even to do a survey, there are the plans get reviewed, and then their product gets reviewed, not only by us but also by these other our preservation partners. So we make sure that everything is good to go before that team ever goes into the field.
Interesting
So
stuff.
you would know when you came on, you'd have a contract in hand. You would know what your responsibilities under that contract are.
And so it's not just a question of going in with my tools and that kind of thing and saying, okay, today we're going to be over on this part. I mean, the contract was done. The decision has been made a long time ago. This is where you're going. This is what you're looking for.
You would have a plan in hand that you're working by that has been reviewed by numerous people, both with the military and with the other preservation partners before you even start.
So the other day when you told me to go out and look for the Temple of Doom, you were just messing with me, right? Yeah.
Well, I'm serious about the vampire thing because I've always had wondered, and a couple of the people I've talked to at Mark were kind of at a loss as well when we started talking about why someplace like Hilaan, which had been, if you think about the area that we're talking about, there's a lot of reason to have wanted to live around there. Yeah. Seaside, build up some nice oceanside communities. The water's over there, and you've got the cliff to a lot of mountain to your back, so you can be safe in some of the tougher times. And part of the reason why I wanted to know about the archaeological work that you're doing up there and the kind of depth that you can get is because I know that once you get down closer to the water, the shoreline is not a permanent fixture. It comes and goes, and there are places where the beach, the ocean, was further away from the cliff than it is now. And in the times that in between times, there have also been times where the ocean was closer to the cliff than it is now. So it just kind of moves and goes with the nature, and that changes, I suppose, the nature of some of the things that you find and where you find them.
We do. A lot of the early sites were along the coast, but as you say, the coast isn't where it used to be.
Yeah.
So we find those sites inland. They're not going to be up on the plateau where our projects are, but they're a little further inland from the coast today, and in some cases they're buried 2 or 3 meters deep.
Gotta go digging for them.
Because the sand moves, and it's the wind, the water, everything, gravity. It builds up a deposit over those sites, and the archaeologists can look at that and do a soil profile, and they can see the different things that happen through time, reading the story in the dirt.
Which fascinates me at the end of the day when we get through all of this. That's, to me, the most fascinating part. Yeah, it'd be interesting when there's a Marines and a firing range and a cantonment and all of that stuff. But at the end of the day, there is this incredible story, and it's a very rich and long story about how these people found Guam and the different places where they lived and called home. And you can see the places where they preferred to live because there's more junk in the dirt to find.
Well, we're also learning a lot more, too, because of the need for the development in the area. I think, you correct me if I'm wrong, Professor. But
thank you, Admiral.
Colonel. But, but from my understanding, the fact that we have to get out there more because it's going to be developed has really been an enabling process to help us learn more.
It is. We know more. We know a lot more about what was going on up in the plateau and how it relates to what was going on around the coast.
Are they two different populations? Can you tell?
No, I don't think so. There are trails from up on the plateau that lead down to the coast, rockline trails. That we know that somebody went to the effort to do that because they were using those trails regularly. So they're growing.
Were they tooled? Or somebody did?
No,
I mean, it's not like they went in there with a hammer and chisel.
They just got rocks, and it's very rocky up there in some areas. So up in Anderson in particular.
Thousands of years, and the trails have survived all this time?
Well, they're rock, yeah.
So, I guess,
and so something was connecting the people down on the coast with the people up in the uplands.
Or the resources,
they're growing,
right?
Yeah, exactly. They're going where the resources are.
Yeah.
You're not going to carry that 300-400 pound Lusong and put it just anywhere. You're going to put it where you're going to be returning to again and again.
Yeah.
Because the conditions are right for whatever resource you're targeting.
Can you tell after all of these years what kind of plant material they were using as a resource? Because if you live down on the beach side, that's easy. I mean, they eat the seaweed and anything that swims in the ocean or looks like I can cook. I'm going to bring that onto shore and I'm going to cook that. But maybe something starchy, maybe some vegetable stuff that I might be able to get from up on top. Can you tell what it is that they were eating up there?
Yeah, a lot of the research that we just finished in the cantonment area, again, investigated those earth ovens. And in those earth ovens, you have carbon for dating. You have wood that you can identify as what they were using. You have different materials that you can analyze to see what kind of products were there. What were they eating?
That's what I asked you.
Yeah.
So what were they eating? Go up to Wendy's and swing by some
breadfruit, coconut, the things that would be the things we still see out there. Processing cycads for flour and lots of other anything that's out there today, and probably more than we even know that was useful then.
I'm trying to think of when the pigs and the deer were introduced. I think the deer
1700s.
1700s. So there's not much by way of meat protein that
there
they
was nothing but a fruit bat.
That's it.
Yeah.
And we found. Have you found any?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They were eating fruit bat.
Well, see now, if you want to talk about a population that it would be nice to restore, the flying fox, the Mariana's fruit bat, would be something that would be fun. The fanihi, as it were, would be fun to see up there. I'd read a story on the air a few days ago about the doni sali, which is doni is the hot pepper, and sali is the bird that is associated with that in the old culture and the old Chamorro ways, and the bird would eat the pepper and then fly around and go, wow, that's hot, poop it out, and the seeds would disperse that way naturally. And they tell me that in the boondocks, and I'm sure that up around this area that we're talking about here, there might still be some wild doni plants. Are you finding those things up there?
They're scattered around.
Yeah.
But you just brought up a good point. Our biologists tell me that it's the snakes that are affecting the forest composition because the birds that distribute the seeds are getting eaten.
Yeah, yeah.
So a lot of those plants are not being distributed like they were pre-snake.
Is that concept can be married with this reforestation concept that you were talking about?
That's certainly part of it.
Say, we find these birds, find opportunities for these birds to help reforest exactly the same way that they did before. I mean, it's a bright red plant. My guess is that the birds would look at it and say, that looks like something that I can eat. I wanted to talk about this real quick before we're all done, and it has to do with, I want to say, the myth and legend of the firing range up there. And I think there's a lot of people that think that what's going to happen up there is that the Marines are going to bring the Seabees up there and they're going to scrape the thing down to white limestone, and then we're going to put the firing ranges down, and what's going to happen is a Marine is going to fire a bullet, a depleted uranium bullet from the lane, and it's going to go right through the berm and kill all the birds down in Retidian. And so the first reason why that isn't going to happen is because there's a difference in elevation now.
Certainly, at least 600 feet.
Yeah.
So, I better respond because you had a lot of negatives out there. So,
well, as I say, I hear a lot of things, and sometimes I worry about the myth and legend, and sometimes we need to talk about what is factual. There's going to be a firing range. The Marines need a firing range. That's how they keep their tool sharp.
Absolutely. In the firing range, the complex up there really is important because there are no other sister ranges around here that can be employed, like if you were in the continental United States, for example. But the ranges that are going to be put up there are for individual training standards. So for every every rifleman that you put in harm's way, he's got to be able to use his individual weapons. But the live fire training range complex, we're looking at a total of 5 ranges. They're split into 2 groups, and really what we hear a lot of concern about is the machine gun range.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the areas you're talking about with the elevation 600 feet is the range complex will be built on a plateau. About 600 feet down the cliff, you'll see the Ritidian Wildlife Refuge.
Okay.
Now, what overlays that refuge is what we call a surface danger zone. And that's an area where it's an artificial boundary, and you put up just to, so that everybody stays out of the area in the rare circumstance of a ricochet or something to that effect. But as far as the Ritidian Wildlife Unit itself, the basic physics of it tell you that bullets just can't get down there because, bullets are traveling pretty fast, and they can't make a 90-degree turn to go straight off the berm and then straight down.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a statistic, anomaly if any material were to get down there.
So let's go over my negatives point by point. So we're not going to be scraping down to white limestone.
No. So part of the thing about the range complex is a large portion of it is untouched, and the reason for it is because if you want a specific number of acres for a range, you have to have a lot more acres just to encompass a surface danger zone. So if you think of the range complex as about 700 acres, only about half of that is going to be developed. The rest is native limestone forest.
So it'll be green.
Exactly.
They'll be green there. And depleted uranium?
So
gotta go fast.
Yeah, it won't be used here. It's too expensive. There's no use for it, and it's not permitted.
Right. So let's not worry about that. Was there a next? We can't make the bullets go 90 degrees and go kill all the birds.
No, that's against Newtonian physics. They keep going straight. They got enough velocity, but what they do is they hit the berm, so they don't go into the ocean either.
Yeah, well, and this is the part that I like is it's not they're not going to leave the lead and the bullets in the berm. You're going to recycle those and pull them out and make new bullets out of it.
Right. It's called berm mining, and so you want to pull them out of there occasionally. Go ahead.
It's done. I was just going to say it's done. You can go on YouTube, and there's guys that do it all the time, and they'll go to firing ranges, and they'll scoop lead out, and there is a long, laborious, and I'm sure expensive process, but reloaders will do it just because it's what they love to do, and get the lead out and make brand new bullets out of it.
Right, and it's also part of the regulatory process.
Absolutely.
Too.
So there are going to be concerns, and in many cases, those concerns have been met. We'll meet again and discuss this. I do have a picture of the cantonment area. I'm going to put that up on the screen so that you can kind of get an idea. There's a circle in there for those of you that are watching online. There's a little circle in there, and that is about where the elephant cage is now. 9:57. Got time to take this break and then close the show.
Did you know over 80% of all vision impairments can be prevented or cured? Naval Academy and Johns Hopkins University graduate Dr. Peter Lombard has performed thousands of sight-saving procedures in Guam since 2010. He specializes in cataract surgery and can treat your diabetic eye disease, glaucoma, and much more. From simple vision exams to complex surgery, Lombard Health proudly accepts all insurance. Call today to book an appointment at 989-4747. Guam's best eye care. One patient at a time.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. I'm Kim Anderson of Chalanpago, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Protehi Itinotmo, protect your land. When it comes to your family land, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Hey, it's your stomach again. Subway has all new signature wraps, and around the water cooler, the other stomachs can't stop talking about them. Chipotle Southwest steak and cheese, turkey, bacon, and guac, rotisserie-style chicken Caesar signature wraps. Listen, if I'm honest, as a talking stomach, I don't have a lot of life experience. But I do know one thing. These signature wraps are jam-packed with meat. So what are you waiting for? I'm growling over here. Subway. Make it what you want.
The stations of Choice Broadcasting are celebrating April 2018 as National Earth Month in the first ever Upcycle Mascot Showdown. We We've invited the public elementary 5th grade classes to set the example and build their school mascots completely out of recyclable material. Come down to the Chamorro Village Festival Huts on April 21st from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. for a full day of fun. Support your school's mascot and be sure to vote for your favorite. Judges pick the first place winner. The public votes for the second place winner. Celebrate Earth Month with our students in the Upcycle Mascot Showdown. Brought to you by Leo Palace Resort Guam, Dr. Yang Dental, Denny's of Guam, and The Point.
GPSI Guam is a professional services company that is a registered contractor for the federal government. They're an SBA, 8A, and Hub Zone certified SDVOSB, providing program/project management, administration, technical support, logistics, and commodities. Find out more about GPSI and how they can help you today. For large prime companies, contact GPSI if you need assistance in meeting your small business subcontracting goals at 477-3058. They'll be happy to assist.
KUSG Hagutnya, here's the Fox News.
Sarah, Fox News. A federal prosecutor already looking into allegations of wrongdoing at the FBI and the Department of Justice. That just revealed by Attorney General Jeff Sessions.
In a letter to Republicans Chuck Grassley, Trey Gowdy, and Bob Goodlatte, Sessions is reserving the right to name a second special counsel beyond Robert Mueller down the road to hold officials at the FBI and the Justice Department accountable. But Sessions is revealing for the first time he already has been quietly having that U.S. Attorney John Huber out in Utah operating outside the Beltway, using his prosecutorial powers with a broad mandate to investigate misconduct that could actually extend beyond just FISA abuse.
Fox's Ed Henry in Washington. The Trump administration